There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
The Taboo, everything to do with sex show, is coming back to Edmonton this weekend. It's Edmonton's sexiest all-inclusive adult party. If you've never been to the Taboo show, you don't know what you're missing. Introducing Glow Friday and Masquerade Saturday. Taboo has something for everyone. It's all about feeling sexy. Bring your sweetheart, your friends, or come alone. Grab a drink, walk around, and enjoy non-stop stage entertainment, shopping, and seminars. Bad Dragon presents The Taboo Show this weekend at the Expo Center in Edmonton. Visit tabooshow.com.
Black Friday early deals are on now at Canadian Tire. Save up to 50% on kitchen essentials, tools, Christmas decor, and more. These prices won't go any lower this year. Ends November 22nd. Conditions apply. Visit canadiantire.ca or flyer for details.
Sports Radio is back.
It'll be Kulak moving the puck. Rebound scores! Kulak moved in, and an Edmonton area kid has the opening goal.
The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Moved up. OG! Ties it.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Trout to the end zone. Touchdown! Take down! C.J. Stroud.
A positive Friday. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Coming to you live, Oilers Nation YouTube, as well as the show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game, play all sorts of fun. Remember, use the promo code SPORTS50 if you're a first timer, and you'll get free $50 to check it out. PlayAlberta.ca. The Edmonton Oilers are in Tampa Bay. They will take on the Lightning tomorrow. Start of a 4-game road trip for the Edmonton Oilers, and they are hoping to continue this 3-game winning streak. The game will be at 2:00 Edmonton time, in case you're wondering. So an afternoon affair to start the road trip, and then another afternoon affair to end the road trip. That will be on Friday. So Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the 4-gamer for the Oilers. Then they're back home, and next Sunday, the surprising Anaheim Ducks will be in town. Game ongoing right now over in Sweden. Detroit leads Toronto 2-0. Toronto thought they scored. They reviewed it. The defender in Detroit runs into the net. Even though it was inadvertent, knocks the net off. Toronto scores. There's no delay of game penalty. It was kind of an interesting sequence. And then a few minutes later, Detroit gets a penalty shot because Toronto covered the puck in their own crease. Daniel Sprong scores, and now suddenly it is 2-0. And then, of course, Lucas Raymond, the Swedish boy, scores a goal in his home country. Pretty big thrill for him. Crowd obviously loving it over there. What people aren't loving is if you're in fantasy football, your trade deadline is passed, and you had Joe Burrow and Mark Andrews or Mark Andrews on your roster. There's not many tight ends who score a lot of points. Well, now it's down another one because he's out for the season. And Joe Burrow also announced today he's out for the season. This was supposed to be a Thursday nighter that, it started off great. It was back and forth. And then Andrew is injured. And then before the first half, Burrow is out. And suddenly that game did not look as exciting. And if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, probably not excited about where your season's going now. Your team's 5-5, which is difficult enough to get back in the race. But you're going to do it now without Joe Burrow. I'm going to say pretty slim chance, Connor Halley. Pretty slim chance.
Yeah. I don't think there is too much encouraging news out of Cincinnati. The Browns lose their quarterback. The Ravens lose Mark Andrews and maybe Odell Beckham. I think Steelers fans are sitting back and maybe smiling a little bit. Not that you want to see people get hurt, but their division rivals taking a lot of hits. But for sure, Gregor, as a Joe Burrow owner myself, I'm thankful he got that last touchdown in, but it did not look good on the sidelines for him. So tough one for the Bengals. Joe Burrow for the second time in his career now, season-ending injury.
Yeah, awful news for him. Health is the ultimate unexpected equalizer in sports. Never know what it can do for you. So we'll see. But Bengals fans probably not happy right now. Vikings fans, though, excited that Justin Jefferson is coming back. And hey, you know who else might be excited? Well, I don't know. It seems to be rather torn. And I'll be honest, I'm perplexed by well, maybe I shouldn't be, but I'm perplexed by some people's rationale right now. Connor Brown skated today with Connor McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He'll play tomorrow against Tampa Bay. Remember, on Tuesday before the Wednesday game, Connor Brown was skating on the fourth line. He didn't play. Connor Brown's not skating on the first line if he's not playing. Trust me, Connor Brown is playing tomorrow. Yes, it'll be his 10th game, and his bonus kicks in of $3.25 million. The Oilers don't have much cap space right now. So barring some major surprise to their roster, it's likely going to be $3.25 million in bonus overages for next season. And yeah, I've seen people, you got to put him on a conditioning stint. Well, first of all, he hasn't been injured long enough to go on a conditioning stint. Number one. Number two, veteran players don't agree to this. Very, very rarely, unless they've been out a significant period of time. No veterans agreeing to going on a conditioning stint for when it's 17 days. Right? It's just not happening. He's gonna fly all the way across the country to go to Bakersfield. And so what? He plays 2 games, the American. Difference. I don't believe it is. And there's no precedent. The player's not going to agree to it. So to me, it's kind of wasted breath to even discuss it. Now, if you want, and then the others are like, well, put him in the minors and keep him there. Why? He's a better option than Gagne or Ryan or Lavoie to play in your top 6 on the right wing right now. That's why you signed him. You signed him to be a top 6 right winger. So because he has 9 games that he's pointless, now you want to put him in the minors because of his bonus? Like, that's the ultimate worrying way too far down the road and changing plan. They're not going to do that. It's not even it doesn't really make much sense to do it. You're going to put him on waivers? Really? Sure, you could, but then you're just throwing away this season as well. 9 games is not a valid number of games to evaluate how Connor Brown, especially if you actually look at his last 5 games. Connor Brown did everything but score. He was only -1 5-on-5 in the last 5 games. By the way, playing mainly in the bottom 6. But they outshot the opposition. They outchanced the opposition. Just couldn't score, which is kind of been an issue in Edmonton. No question. Does he have to produce more? 100%. But I wouldn't just jump off the deep end that, Connor Brown, let's worry about next year, 15 games into this season. You're putting the cart before the horse. Because the truth is, when the contract was signed, everybody knew that the likelihood, the majority of the bonus, regardless, if Connor Brown scores 15 goals, he scores 30 goals this year, either way, that bonus overage is going to sting next year. Right? It doesn't matter. Ultimately, it doesn't. They signed him to be a guy that they felt would help him in the regular season, sure, but more so in the playoffs. Because the Oilers before, in the summertime, Oilers' goal was, hey, we're a Stanley Cup contender. I don't think they believe that they're not, despite a slow start. I don't believe the organization is suddenly like, we're not a Stanley Cup contender. So they're not going to change their entire plan and mindset, right? It's not going to happen. So He'll play tomorrow. And then thankfully he can move on. Everybody knows what the bonus is. And I'm sure every time he goes 3 games without a point, you'll be like, oh, look at that bonus. That's fine. But right now, today, I still think Connor Brown is your best option when you have Zach Hyman playing with Leon Draisaitl. Then Brown's your best right-wing option to play. Well, you could argue maybe Warren Foegele. I might have some time for that, except if you move Foegele there, then now you have a bunch of right wingers that now you're going to have Foegele playing his opposite side. You're going to have a right winger playing the left side because Holloway's out on the third line. So I'm not even sure that makes a whole bunch of sense. So I understand if all of a sudden it's like, hey, wait a sec. Dustin Brown's going to get this much money. Sorry, Connor Brown is going to get this much money next year. Yes. And it's going to count against cap. And it's going to be painful. There's no question. The new GM, because I assume Ken Holland won't be the GM next year. The new general manager is going to have to go out in free agency. And even if it was Ken Holland, I think that they all knew this. And so the plan was, okay, so Connor Brown's basically 3.25 of dead cap space. We need to find a player. And trust me, other teams do it. You go out there and you find a player, $775 to $1 million, and they produce. That's just what you have to find, right? So there you go. Hey, Gregor, what was the bonus? 10 games played. They made it a very attainable bonus because otherwise he wouldn't have signed the contract because he had guaranteed money offers from other teams. So that there was obviously a risk. Right? He wasn't going to lose money to do Edmonton a favor. Right? That's not really how it works. Right? I don't see a lot of players doing that. Hey, I'm going to sign as a free agent. You know what? I'll go to Edmonton. Yeah, I'm good friends with Connor McDavid. So you know what I'll do is I will lose money to do it. It just doesn't happen. Right? So if you're frustrated, I get it. But understand, like, this has been known now for a few months. This is not like suddenly, where'd this come from? It's not how it is. Coming up on the show today, we will hear from Chris Knobloch a little bit later on. Matt Tomkins will join us, Tampa Bay Lightning goaltender. Of course, it's been quite the journey for Tomkins to get to the NHL. From Edmonton, he played for the Sherwood Park Crusaders back in 2011-12 and 2012-13, then spent 4 years at Ohio State University. Was a 7th-round pick of the Blackhawks way back in 2012. And then spent 2 years in the ECHL. Then during the COVID year, got into was in the AHL. Then he actually went to Sweden for 2 seasons. Thinking, you know what? Hey, maybe my NHL dream's over. Decided to come back to North America. Signed in Tampa Bay when Vasilevsky was announced he was out. And now he's made 3 appearances. So he's got 3 NHL games, man. It's a pretty cool story. The 29-year-old will join us here in about 10 minutes' time. Also on the show, Tim Ellis going to broadcast his 1,000th game on Sunday. So we'll talk to him about that. Dave Naylor, are the Elks up for sale privately? Remember we talked about this, well, on the previous station, saying I thought it might be the best thing for him. Now, you got to find someone who's willing to buy the team, who's willing to likely lose money to start. That's just the reality of it. Now, the Elks have made money. They have a long history of making money. You run it properly, you can make money. Right? You have sole ownership. There would be no board anymore. You would have an owner, GM, like you would in any other pro team, right? There wouldn't be a board. So we'll talk to Dave about that. Button will be by Lowetide Spec. Of course, Wanye's in studio today. Also, Loriann Muenzer will join us at 3 o'clock. You can get involved. You can text us 833-40 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. Now, I know, be wise, winterize, and you're like, I don't need to. It's nice out. It's going to be great this weekend. But now's the time. Plan ahead. Get into jiffylubeservice.ca. Winterize your vehicle before it's too late. You want it running smooth when the inevitable cold weather comes, because we know it's coming. It's just a matter of when and how, for how long and how much, right? That's just how it is. Hey, guys, Brown will come around. He needs a breakthrough. He's worth the risk. He needs to play in the top 6. That one comes from Derek. Hey, guys, we trade him at the deadline. What does bonus follow him? Brad. Oh, Brad, because the bonus was 10 games, he reached it in Edmonton. Even if he's traded, now his cap hit for this year would go, but the bonuses would still be on Edmonton's cap for next season. Unless, now the only way that Brown's bonuses won't all carry over is if the Oilers tank and then the Oilers trade off salary at the deadline, so his bonus overages would fit under this year's cap. Not bonus overages, then it'd just be a bonus, right? That's the only way they can do it. So there you go. I think that's unlikely. I would be stunned if the Edmonton Oilers are in seller mode. Now, anything can happen, right? What all of a sudden if you have some major injuries to players and things don't go right, right? It happens. Right? We've seen it happen to other teams. So, but right now, today, that's I think the plan is for him to stay in Edmonton, and they want him to play well. He wants to play well. He's obviously got lots on the line too, right? He's UFA again. So we'll see. We'll take a quick break. Matt Tomkins will join us next on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Live and Owners Nation YouTube, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair!
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
When basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal joined the team at Papa John's, he brought some big ideas. But his biggest idea is the Shaq-a-Roni pizza. It's a massive pizza designed to feed big appetites and make a big impact. It comes with 8 foldable Shaq-sized slices, loaded with extra cheese and extra pepperonis. But what makes it really big is that for every Shaq-a-Roni sold through December 31st, 2023, Papa John's donates $1 to Second Harvest to provide 3 healthy meals to people and agencies in need. The Shaq-a-Roni is bigger than pizza. Get yours today for only $21.99, only at Papa John's.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Story time with Mr. Rooter.
Mr. Rooter, can you tell me a bedtime story?
Sure, son. But can you just call me Dad?
Nope.
How about Papa?
No. You're Mr. Rooter.
Okay, son. What story this time?
Can you read the one about the sewer roots?
No way. You know how you get root nightmares.
Please.
Not a chance.
Please. Papa?
Oh, boy. Just don't tell your mother.
You mean Mrs. Rooter?
For a plumbing story with a happy ending, call Mr. Rooter.
Are you ready to light up your game like Edmonton lights up the ice?
Then choose Ewell.
Electrical Wholesalers Edmonton Limited offers lightning fast service. Just like your favorite forward, they deliver your electrical supplies in record time.
Plus winning quality. They only stock the best.
And don't forget about their all-star support. When it comes to customer service, they're the playmakers.
So don't sit in the dark. Make the power play and visit Ewell today. Online at ewel.ca, where excellence in electrical meets the heart of hockey. First Round is Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Get in the game and watch NFL football this season at First Round. And you'll have a chance to win a trip to your favorite NFL city to watch a game in person next season. And the hits keep on coming with food and drink specials, big screen TVs, and more. Catch the Pro Bowl brunch every Sunday, Monday Night Football, and head in Thursdays for your chance to win an NFL replica helmet. NFL at First Round. Burgers, beer, sports. Downtown West Edmonton Mall and at 1strmd.ca.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Drive into fall with some sweet savings at Cross Mitsubishi. Right now, get the best rate in the country, 1.99% on select Mitsubishis. And to make things even better, get up to $1,800 in free accessories or no payments for 6 months, and Cross will take care of your first 3 payments. Plus, get a trade-in bonus for $2,000 and free winter tires on all new Mitsubishis. Find these great deals and so many more at Cross Mitsubishi, 34th Avenue and 96th Street, or cross with a K, Mitsubishi.ca.
Are you winter ready? Don't put off those repairs or maintenance to your trucks or trailers while the cold weather sets in. Call Murray's Truck Parts Locators. Get your trucks in now to make sure you don't end up stranded. From alignments to inspections and engine overhauls, Murray does it all. He can even source parts when you need them and cut down on wait times.
Call Murray's Truck Parts, 780-678-2128.
Murray's Truck Parts Locators, just minutes west of Camrose.
The Taboo, everything to do with sex show, is coming back to Edmonton this weekend. It's Edmonton's sexiest all-inclusive adult party. If you've never been to the Taboo show, you don't know what you're missing. Introducing Glow Friday and Masquerade Saturday. Taboo has something for everyone. It's all about feeling sexy. Bring your sweetheart, your friends, or come alone. Grab a drink, walk around and enjoy non-stop stage entertainment, shopping, and seminars. Bad Dragon presents The Taboo Show this weekend at the Expo Center in Edmonton. Visit tabooshow.com.
Ho, 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 how low can they go? This holiday season at Buy Low Foods, they go way low. Save big when buying more of select products at Buy Low Foods.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Try the Shakaroni, a big pizza with a big impact for only $21.99 for every Shakaroni sold until December 31st, 2023. Papa John's donates $1 to Second Harvest. Order now at papajohns.ca.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2:21. How are you? Welcome back to the Positive Friday edition, the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440. Hope you're having yourselves an awesome day. Big plans for the weekend. It's going to be beautiful outside. Ooh, live it up, baby. Live it up. Oh, you kidding me? It is nice. Very nice. Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Hey, new season, new sports book. Stay in the game this season with PlayAlberta.ca. New players who sign up with the code SPORTS50 get a $50 free bet right now at PlayAlberta.ca. And hey, the Maple Leafs making it interesting. Bertuzzi scores early in the third, and now it is a 2-1 in the afternoon game. Although it's an evening game in Sweden, but over here, afternoon affair. It's about, I think they're 8 hours ahead of us. So it's around 10:30 right now in Sweden. I think that game started at 8 o'clock Sweden time. So we'll see. Hey, boys, you think there's a chance Campbell retires and voids his contract because he feels bad for playing bad? JCD, it's Positive Friday, my man. But come on now. He's going to walk away from $15 million? Not happening. Not happening. All right. He'll you remove emotion and you say, what is the best decision for me as an individual? Does he want to play better? 100%. But to walk away, no person, I think, in the right mind would do that. They signed you the contract because they believed in you. You signed the contract, you believe in you. Hey, you're not playing well. It's true, but there is there's no chance he would do it. And nor would I expect him to. Let's be honest. So we'll see how it goes. Trying to track down Matt Tomkins. Should be joining us momentarily. Meanwhile, we got lots more texts to get to. A few other topics of conversation from many people wondering what is up Hey, Gregor, if Brown's playing on the top line or the other lines, well, Hyman, Draisaitl, and Kane will stick together. Derek Ryan's on the third line with Fogle and McLeod. And then you had Hamlin as the center. Gagne and Lavoie were swapping on the right side with Adam Ernie. But I don't think it's a lock that Adam Ernie plays on the left side either. We'll see. But one of Ernie, Gagne, or Lavoie will be out of the lineup tomorrow night. Orders, obviously. Now, Broberg, will there be a change on the back end? They've won 3 in a row. I'm gonna guess no for the defense. Like Brown's, he's injured. I think they look at Brown and say, okay, this guy's better. Broberg just came up from the minors. I'd be a little surprised if he was inserted right now. But hey, I guess you never know. Anything can happen. But I would be a little surprised if that happened at this point. I see no. I haven't seen Vincent Desharnais struggle enough where you would say, okay, we got to get him out of the lineup. We got to get Broberg in, right? Does anybody else think that? I don't think so. So we'll see. Taking away a second for the Oilers because, hey guys, I'm a longtime Calgary fan. They won again last night over Vancouver. They're now 6-8-2. Huberdeau scored. Are they like the Oilers and finally finding their way? Think they get back in? Who do you like better, Flames or the Oilers? It's a good question, Doug. I would still, at the start of the season, I had Edmonton as the better team. So I would probably still put it there. I think Calgary was in the same boat as Edmonton. Both were underachieving without question early on. I don't think there's any debate on that. Neither one was playing very well. So that's a big win for them. They needed to get some wins. They still got a long ways to go. They're 11 points back of Vancouver. Now they do have a game in hand. Edmonton's 14 back of the Canucks with 2 games in hand. So even in a perfect world, they're still double digits behind the Canucks, even if they win their 2 games in hand, right? Vancouver's red hot start has given them a huge opportunity here. They don't, obviously you're not just going to want to tank now, but even if they just play 500 for a month or so, then the Oilers got to play, 4 or 5 games, 6 games above 500 to catch them, maybe more. So that's what a good start is, what gives you a huge opportunity to not have to, stare at the standings all the time, scratch and claw for every win. Makes a big difference for sure. Hey, Greggs, I just realized the Oilers have won 3 in a row since you started parting your hair in a circle. From LB. Hey, LB, we all know the ring of confidence. It's a slow process. It's a slow process for the old ring of confidence. But yeah, the Oilers, that is a real extra kick in the junk. And trust me, I'm aware. I'm more than aware of it. Going to beat San Jose? Could easily be 4 in a row then. Imagine that. Should have been. How the hell did they lose that game? Although, did you see the Sharks? They got a 5-0 on the Blues last night. Hey, any night teams can win in the NHL. Obviously, that's been proven. I just don't care what anyone says. That's a game the Oilers should have won. I will go to my grave believing that's a game the Oilers should have won. And honestly, as bad as it is for me, I'd still would have made that bet again, because I think the odds were significantly in my favor for them to win. It's terrible that they lost, but what can you do? Probably not terrible for you. We'll see. Guys, it's amazing how we're comparing the Oilers and Flames as being equal. This after lots of stars leave Cowtown. Well, they made a big trade, right? They brought in Weegar and Huberdeau for Tkachuk. They lost Gaudreau, right? So, I don't know. 2 in, 2 out. And they brought in Kadri. So, I don't know. They were kind of the same. Hey, Edmonton's off to a bad start. There's no debate in my mind. I think every Oilers fan admits that. This is not, are people just waking up on Positive Friday? What? The Oilers have had a bad start? This is well known. This should be a surprise to anybody. I think we kind of know where they're at right now, right? They're not playing good. They got to play better. They've found a little bit of their game here. 3-game stretch, though. Let's see what they do. This road trip will be a much better test. I see. A much better test for me. Hey, guys, did you see, is the NFL investigating the Burrow situation? Cons, I don't know. I haven't. What would they be investigating? Because they didn't announce it last night? Is that the investigation? Like, he was playing, he was fine, and then he left the game.
Yeah, well, that picture or video surfaced of him pregame walking in with looked like a brace on his wrist. I think that's it. To me, I think this is just people that are upset about their fantasy football team, or they lost a bet and looking for an excuse. I don't know if they will, because, it is actually something that NFL teams do have to do. You have to report these injuries. Was it Mahomes last week was on for an illness? It popped up. That was probably just to be safe. He was clearly going to play. I think people are a little frustrated the way it looked, because, Gregor, he did not look good, right? We knew that had to be something that was lingering throughout the week. I don't think this was just an injury that popped up Thursday morning. So by league rules, you expected to have that on your injury reports. So
you're saying he should have been listed as probable?
Yeah. Who wasn't going to start him? Who wasn't going to put him out in your fantasy lineup or take those prop bets, perhaps? I think people are just a little bit frustrated. I don't know what the league would actually do. Maybe they would, make the Bengals lose a draft pick or something like that. Maybe there would be a fine, but I don't know how serious it'll be in the end.
Yeah, honestly. I don't know. He was playing, so
threw a touchdown.
Yeah, like I don't think it was bothering him until he got, like, who knows what it is, but lots of guys are nicked up sometimes. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to qualify on the injury report, but I hadn't seen it. It didn't make sense to me. Now I guess it kind of does, but either way, it doesn't change anything, right? He's out. The Cincinnati Bengals season's over. Sorry, Bengals fans.
Yeah.
Like, they're 5-5, and now you lose your starting quarterback, and your backup is, like, they're not bringing in Joshua Dobbs here, right? Browning has shown that he's not that guy. So we'll see. What about the Ravens, though? They win the game, but that Mark Andrews loss is huge for them, for sure. So I'm kind of curious to see what goes there.
Yeah, how about Logan Wilson, linebacker for the Bengals, took out Lamar Jackson, albeit not seriously, and Mark Andrews and Odell Beckham Jr. in one game.
Physical player.
He hits with anger and frustration for sure.
Hey, guys, Desharnais not struggling, you mean, other than when he tries to skate, Walter? Actually, Desharnais for a big man skates just fine. I don't care how it looks. To me, it's irrelevant to me. I don't care, as long as you get the job done. Skating's not the issue for Desharnais. I haven't seen Vincent Desharnais. Is Desharnais getting exposed game in and game out? I don't know. Maybe we're watching different games, but I haven't seen Vincent Desharnais as someone who's getting exposed because of his skating. He doesn't have great, natural puck handling skills. That's valid, but I don't see him as a guy who's out there getting crushed on the ice shift after shift. Now, he hasn't been on the ice for many goals but look who he plays with. He doesn't really play with McDavid or those guys. So if you're a third pairing defender and you're on with the Oilers' bottom six, you're not on for many goals. Right? Like McLeod, like all of them. Right? It's just how it goes. Now, again, if they wanted to take out Desharnais, fine. I'm just saying, when you're on a 3-game winning streak, and now Desharnais almost, but guess what? Almost putting the puck into the empty net doesn't classify as anything other than almost. Okay? That's it. It's almost. If it's not a delayed penalty, he doesn't try that pass. Right? We all know that. So you can get your feathers ruffled over that pass, but why? He's not doing that pass in a normal situation. They have the goalie pulled. Obviously, it looked bad. It was just like, ooh, but it still, it hit the side of the net. It didn't go in. So away you go. I don't, you can't bench guys for plays that don't negatively impact the game. Well, this might have happened. What? No, you can't. It makes no sense. You don't do that. If you did that as a coach, you wouldn't last very long as a coach, right? You don't. You can't do it. If you want to get mad at players, get mad at them about something that's actually impacting the game. It's the only way to do it. You can't get too upset about it because, this might have happened. If we all evaluated things on what if, hey, Imagine if the Oilers forwards didn't always hit the other goalie in the chest protector in some of their shots. Maybe they'd have 3 more wins. Right? Come on. You can't focus too much on the what if. At least in my books anyway. I don't think it's a big deal. Hey, Greg's, I'm curious. My buddies went to F1. Have you seen the gong show that is Vegas? You and Colin talked about how it might not be good. Seems like everything you said was bang on. Now, I want to preface this by saying I was only repeating what veteran F1 people had told me. So I went to my first F1 race a few years ago in Montreal, and I'll tell you, it was great. It was in Montreal. It was fantastic. Well, and it's just the whole city. Like, there's so many good restaurants here. God, I loved it. It was fun. But the people that I talked to, I talked to this lady. She'd been to about 15 F1 races. And she said, because, they were always going to go to Miami. She goes, whatever you do not, and Vegas wasn't even announced then. She goes, don't go to Miami for the first race. And I'm like, how come? She goes, the first time it's in a city, it's never very good. It's a cluster. You know what? There's lots of issues. And look at what's happening in Vegas right now. So number one, because it's in Vegas and people just assume that the consumers are idiots and that they will just blindly pay exorbitant prices all the time. So the hotels try to jack up their rates. People were like, well, I'm not paying that. The ticket prices were jacked up. Look at how many empty seats are on the grandstand. Right? So it's not good. It's not good at all. And then now you've got practice that was canceled very briefly, or after a brief run, because you had a manhole cover that was loose because it's a street course. Like, it's been awful. Then they kick the fans out after 9 minutes. So you have people paying huge money that have seen no racing yet. Nothing. Like, yeah, it has not been a banner start for the Vegas F1 race. And guess what? That's exactly what the veteran said. Don't go if it's the first one. Should be better next time. Quick break. We'll return to the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
They say there ain't no I in team, and maybe so, but a K has a nice ring to it. In fact, 10K is how we roll at the Canadian Brew House. The CBH offers a teams and leagues program with a chance at free offers and exclusive deals. Plus, book your fundraising event at our house, and you'll automatically be entered to win $10,000 for your group. Whatever your sport choice, we hope to put 10K in your team, if you know what I mean. Sign up today at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Looking to tackle your backyard projects with power and precision this fall? Look no further than Kubota compact tractors. Experience the perfect blend of compact size and unbeatable value with Kubota. Right now, take advantage of financing as low as 0% for up to 84 months and save up to $1,500 on select models. Plus, as the temperature drops, get ready for Alberta winters with confidence with Kubota Performance Match snowblowers, sweeper, and blades. Visit Edmonton Kubota today for details.
When you think local, think corporate business solutions. Local service, local support, local always. CBS is the largest Konica Minolta office equipment dealer in Western Canada with a full line of multifunction office devices, printers, mail machines, and software solutions. When you call CBS, you'll speak with a live person located right here in Edmonton, and most issues can be resolved over the phone within 20 minutes or less. Call Corporate Business Solutions today, 780-490-5600, or visit cbsca.com.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
It's simply the best time to buy. The Black Friday event is on right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. You'll save up to a game-changing $7,500 off your purchase or finance as low as 1.49%. Choose from a winning selection of 2023 cars and SUVs like the sleek S60 or the roomy and comfortable XC60s and 90s. Black Friday is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every single Oilers game at OTR with $4.50 Molson Canadian and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers, score, and win, and you could walk away with a ton of On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave and 118th.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday continues on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube. Hope you're having yourself an awesome day. It's time to go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, where you can stop in right now at McDonald's if you want to get a McMuffin for the weekend. Maybe you got hockey, ball hockey, any sport. Have a coffee and a McMuffin for only $4. That's the premium roast coffee and any McMuffin for $4 limited time right now at McDonald's. The orders are in Tampa Bay to take on the Lightning, and we are joined now by a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning who was drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks in 2012, and it was a long road, but 11 years later he made his NHL debut as Matt Tomkins joins us. Matt, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Things are great. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, Matt, it's 11 years, man. You were in Sweden for a few years. I don't know if in your mind you're like, you know what, maybe the NHL dream is over or not, but you made it. So kind of take me back through this, the last decade and kind of where, going to university was normal, right? You come out of university like a lot of guys, you play, but when you made that decision to go to Sweden, what was behind it?
Yeah, it was certainly a unique journey. Something I never really planned on as being part of the story, but I spent obviously a couple of years there with the Blackhawks in the minor leagues there, and bounced around a little bit and could never really find my footing, and felt like I was improving as a goalie, but it wasn't climbing the depth chart, so to speak. So an opportunity came up, kind of a last minute thing in Sweden, and it was more of a see what happens and go from there. So I signed a 1-year contract, went over there, not really with any expectations or plans, but obviously it worked out and ended up getting me back here to North America and with a chance to play in the NHL. So pretty unique story, but I'm happy I made that decision to go over.
Oh, well, yeah. And obviously, now, did you feel like, did you become a better goalie at all? And if so, in what way?
I did. And the big thing for me was just playing games. So that was something that I never really had the chance of doing in the American League, was, being the guy and being relied upon and playing a lot of minutes. So that was the biggest thing for me getting over there. And obviously you get so much confidence that comes with playing a lot of games and being relied on in that way. So it was a great couple of years. I think the development that I had over there was unreal, and got to, work with some great goalie coaches over there that really helped, push my game forward. But that was just the big thing. I mean, you can't really get experience other than, playing games as a goalie. So as much as, I was in the American League before, I wasn't playing a ton. So it's kind of tough to, make those big steps. So that was the biggest change going over there.
Yeah. Well, and hey, it makes a lot of, especially for goalies, because it is tough, even for goalies. I think one of the big reasons why the development curve of goalies is longer is because, even when you're a starter, you're still sometimes sitting out, even in the dub. You might sit out a quarter of the season where the backup plays, right? So you get less reps overall.
100%.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you see so many teams now that they have so many goalies and new prospects coming in and older guys that are part of the system. And in the NHL and AJHL, you see so many teams that run a 3 goalie system, and sometimes if you're on the outside looking in, it's tough to get those games. So as much as you play a lot of games, there's really not that much to divvy up if you got 3 goalies on a roster. So that's exactly where I found myself when I was in Rockford there for a couple of years.
And so, Matt, when you get the call this summer that Tampa Bay's interested, obviously you probably knew at the time that, Vasilevsky was injured. So did that play a big factor knowing, hey, you know what, I might get more of an opportunity here?
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't know he was injured until training camp here. So
Okay.
I came here with a plan of, going to the American League and being a 3 and hoping to catch a bounce somewhere. And obviously it came sooner than later. Was over in Sweden there last year and had a great season and really enjoyed playing over there in the Swedish league. And but really for me, it was more, I want to have that chance of playing in the NHL again. I want to come back and give it a shot. And, I don't want to retire and when it's all said and done, have regret that I didn't give it another chance. So opportunity came up with Tampa and made sense for me to come back and give it a shot. But yeah, like I said, came back with full intention of, going to the American Hockey League and hoping to catch a bounce somewhere. But like I said, yeah, right out of training camp there was kind of thrown right into the fire. And me and Johansson were the guys coming out of camp to hold down the fort until he was healthy again. So, yeah, really just worked out in my favor. So it's been awesome.
And you look at your first NHL win comes in one of the best or maybe most prestigious hockey cities in Montreal on November 7th, earlier this month. Kind of, did you take some time after that game? Like, do you sit in your pads maybe a little bit longer, just kind of soaking it in?
Yeah, it was really, really special. Obviously you'll take that win anywhere, but of course, looking back, having the opportunity to do it in Montreal and I was thrilled to have the chance to play there in the first place. And, so I got to play at the Bell Center and all that, but, to get the first win and have that be part of the story just makes it that much more special. And yeah, just an amazing, building, amazing organization that they have there and so much history. And it was really cool, just being able to play there in the first place, like I said, but yeah, that makes the memory that much more special for sure.
Now, what about the nerve factor for you? Right, it's 11 years. You're 29 years of age now, but it's 11 years after your draft. That first NHL game you got into this season. Can you explain how much were nerves or excitement a factor for you in that game?
Yeah, for me at this point in my career, it's more excitement. I mean, of course, don't get me wrong. You're nervous for every game that you play, and because you care and you want to succeed. But for me at this point, it's just I've been enjoying this journey so much. And over the years, especially as a goalie, you learn that there's so much out of your control. And perhaps early on in your pro career, you try and, control all those things that really you have no influence over. And once you learn over the years that there's only so much that you can focus on that is in your control, that's really, it's easier to put your attention to that. So for me, I think I've done a really good job of that over the years and learning so much. And for me now, it's just fun. Like I get excited for every chance that I get to play and, to play in the National Hockey League and play with the best players in the world is it's just an amazing experience for me. And I just see the fun side of it and the excitement side. So of course, a little bit nervous, but a little bit different perspective for me now at 29 years old than, perhaps if I was coming and doing the same thing at 20.
Who's got a tougher one-timer to stop in practice, Kucherov or Stamkos?
They're both unique in their own way. Stamkos comes off pretty hot, and Kuch has more of that kind of deceptive, sneaky speed when it comes off. So it's a tie. I'll say that. You come to a team that's, they've won 2 Stanley Cups. They've been in 3 of the last 4 Stanley Cup finals. They got a lot of future Hall of Famers in that room. And obviously you mentioned you're able to soak everything in and, every moment because you don't know how long it's going to last. Vasilevsky's coming back here soon, but kind of just take me through what it's been like here, the whole time from training camp right through being around John Cooper and then Hedman and Kucherov, and what's kind of, what stood out most for you about the organization? Yeah, of course. When I first signed, obviously Tampa has had so much success over the last decade and, pretty decorated franchise. And like you said, so many Hall of Fame players and Hall of Fame coach and all that, you get to come into that was exciting in the first place and was definitely part of the decision to sign with them. But I got here, a few weeks before camp had started and just wanted to get down early and get settled in with the guys and familiar with everything. And I was really just blown away with the culture. And I know a lot of teams talk about having a good culture, and I've seen a lot of different groups over the years and playing all over the world, but it really stuck out to me here just how good the core is, and really that they've built this culture over, like I said, the last decade, and it's just, you feel it right away. They made me feel so welcome right away, and it's just been an awesome experience, start to finish. And they really have a winning mentality here, and a great culture, and it's so cool to be a part of.
Matt, when you made the NHL roster, but probably more importantly when you played that first game in Ottawa, you look back, you're an Edmonton kid. You played for the Crusaders before you went to Ohio State. That's a long journey, man. Your phone must have just blown up from people you hadn't heard from in a while.
Yeah, it was pretty cool after, for sure the first game, and then of course some more after the first win. And I've had so many different phone numbers over the years with playing all over the world. So I think it's taken some people a couple of days to track it down. So messages are still coming in even today. So it's so cool to just, see friends and all that, and teammates that you've played with all over, and just to, a lot of genuine messages that I really, really appreciate. And it makes the experience that much better when you able to share it with friends and family, and you have so many people reaching out with their support and best wishes. So it makes it really, really special. And it's just an amazing feeling. Hard to put into words, really.
Now, were your parents able to get to your first game?
They weren't at the first game, but they've made it to games since then.
Okay.
So they've seen me play, and in Montreal, I had some friends and family there as well. So that made it extra unique as well. Really cool.
Do you know, are you getting the start tomorrow against the Oilers?
I'm not sure, actually. We just landed. We just got back from Chicago here. So just got back from the airport here a little bit ago, and I'm sure I'll hear in the next hour or two what the plan is for tomorrow. I'm hoping for the chance to play against the hometown team. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So fingers crossed, but I'll find out soon here.
Okay, because I know like John Cooper is one of those guys. I could see him looking at different things like that and being, oh, geez, we got a guy here playing against his hometown team. He's stuff like that matters to a lot of players. And
he's aware. Yeah, he's on top of it. So I'm sure it's crossed his mind.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thanks so much for joining us. Continued success, and enjoy the ride as long as it goes.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate you having me on. I'm happy it worked out. So thanks a lot.
You betcha. That is Matt Tomkins, drafted in the 7th round, 199th overall in 2012. And he finally got in to an NHL game, his first one, on October 15th, 2023. So that's, 11 years, 4 months later. And you know what? You never know. It's 29 years. He turned 29 in June. And, as he had mentioned, he just wanted to give himself a chance to say, hey, you know what? And I love what his attitude was. He thought he was going to Tampa Bay to be the number 3. He wanted to go to the American League, and he just wanted to get to play a lot and get some eyes on him and see. Because if you look at his numbers in Sweden when he get to play regular, because in the American League, the most games he ever played in one season was 15. Now, in the ECHL, he played 54. But his time in the American League was 15 and 13 games. You're the backup. And now, obviously, one of those years was COVID, so that has something to do with it too. But when you're not the guy, you don't get to play a lot. It's tough to improve. I don't care who you are or what level. So it's a fun little story, man. And it is something to be watchful for, as they just arrived in from Chicago today. So the Oilers have a little bit of a benefit. In theory, they are the more rested team. Tampa played last night in Chicago. The Oilers were sleeping in their bed in Tampa Bay last night. So, well, we'll see if that benefits the Oilers or not. But you might see the local kid in goal tomorrow for the Tampa Bay Lightning. We'll see. It's if not, either way, it's a fun story for him to finally live out the dream. And hey, speaking of living in the dream right now, Willie Nylander, this guy's the best player on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, I know everybody talks about, oh, geez, they're gonna have to trade him. Why? That's the guy. I'd be signing him up. I would look to move Mitch Marner ahead of him. No question in my mind. Nylander competes. He's now got a point in every game this season. He's in Sweden. They were down 2-0 to start the third period. Nylander assists on the Bertuzzi goal, scores the tying goal, and then assists on Tavares, what is now the the go-ahead goal, and they're in the final minute, and it looks like Toronto might be coming back from a 2-0 deficit to win in the third period. And Detroit, that is tough, man. That is tough. You're up 2-0, and then boom, it's out the door. So either way, though, Willie Nylander is playing very, very well. Now, let's get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. Of course, Cam Tate, if you don't know, longtime journalist here in town. Cam has cerebral palsy. He's in a wheelchair and has always wanted to be on sports talk radio, but due to the challenges with cerebral palsy, at times, voice isn't as clear as you would like to be on full-time radio. But with the wonders of technology, we allow Tater to join the show every Friday and Monday in the 2-minute warning.
Hey there, Big. Jay can't wait to see your hair grow out. I love it. The 2-minute warning with what's his name, Cam Tate. Fast Eddie here reading Tater's words. You could, with a few mouse clicks, find out the odds of the big Grey Cup game Sunday between the Montreal Alouettes and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Have to think the Bombers are heavily favored by about $12 million. And that's cool. But the story of underdogs creating upsets have always had a soft spot in my helmet. That's why the Eastern Final last weekend, when the Alouettes shocked everyone, defeating the Toronto Argonauts, struck me in many ways. And heading into Sunday's game, there's more storylines than a John Grisham bestseller here. My hands are up. Guilty as charged. I am somewhat of what you call a sentimentalist. My second offense, rather than defense, is remembering the past. Danny Metrocar was head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos. Remember them there, Grandpa? His quarterback was Jason Moss. Now the pair of grind-iron football friends are in Montreal. Machocha sits in the general manager's office. Moss calmly, yeah, right, walks the sidelines as head coach. It will be interesting to see if the two have the same success as GEM and coach. If they had here, it's interesting, too. To think the late Ronnie Lancaster and Hugh Campbell won a Grey Cup with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 1966. Lancaster, the quarterback. Campbell, the receiver. Then, in 1993, with Campbell as Eskimo GM and Lancaster the coach, they won the Grey Cup. Now, I know there has been concerns about the current state of the Canadian Football League, especially drawing fans this year. But the game Sunday makes a bold statement on two fronts. A tale of an underdog team and the value of relationships. Relationships achieving the highest level of success in the CFL. Who needs to check the odds? Stuff like that. Simply priceless. 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, Jason Gregor Show, Monday and Friday, Sports 1440.
Well, there you go. Machocha and Moss, they're clear underdogs. We've seen the underdog win before, but you know what? To me, they're pretty big underdogs. And Winnipeg, I don't know if Winnipeg, I look at the Toronto game, and I credit Montreal very well, but Toronto really kind of self-destructed. Chad Kelly had his worst game of the year, maybe the worst game of his career, and just came at the worst time with 4 picks. Caleros, and I have to go back and look when was the last time he threw even 3 interceptions in a game. This is it's going to be tough for Montreal. As we've seen before, hey, anything could happen in the Grey Cup, man. That's what makes it exciting in any championship game. And one game, winner take all, you never know what can happen. But it would be quite the story. It was interesting. Randy Spencer, he's torn. He's cheering for Moss, not cheering for Machocha. Still not a fan of how he dismantled the then Eskimos back in 2006, 7, 8. For those 3 years, man. It was a veteran team that basically they just got rid of all their good players. And as fans of the green and gold watched, they can remember it was not very fun at all. Connor Halley will update you. The Sports 1440 update, what happened over in Sweden. That and more presented by BIE Engineering, specializing in all your residential, commercial, and industrial structural engineering needs. BIEENG.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
It's the final in Sweden. The Toronto Maple Leafs coming back to defeat the Red Wings 3-2. 2 other games on the ice tonight. Sabres take on the Jets, and the Ducks will host the Panthers. The Oilers in action tomorrow. 2 o'clock puck drop taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Connor Brown will return to the lineup in that one. The NBA's in-season tournament resumes play tonight. The Raptors will host the Celtics about at 5:30. Also, the Magic in Chicago. Pelicans host the Nuggets. Suns take on the Jazz. Clippers welcome the Rockets to town. The Lakers are in Portland. 76ers take on the Hawks, and the Hornets hosting the Bucks. In the AJ tonight, 6 games on the schedule, including Spruce Grove hosting Brooks in Canmore in Sherwood Park. Both those games will start at 7. The Oil Kings road trip continues in Brandon tonight and Moose Jaw tomorrow. Both 6 o'clock starts there. The Golden Bears hockey team in action hosting Regina tonight and tomorrow down at the Drake. 7 o'clock starts there. The Pandas in Regina tonight at 6, tomorrow at 4. Down at the Saville Center this weekend, it's Bears and Pandas volleyball taking on the University of Winnipeg. The action gets going tonight at 6 and tomorrow at 5. McEwen men's hockey team home-and-home series against Mount Royal in the city tonight. Down in Calgary tomorrow. The women doing the same with MRU. Calgary tonight, Edmonton tomorrow. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Olympic gold medalist Loriann Muenzer, Dave Naylor from the CFL on TSN, and the voice of the Camrose Kodiaks, Tim Ellis. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its second season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the U14, 15, 17, and U18 age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast online on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. Christmas is just around the corner, and we've got everything for the athlete and sports fan on your list, including United gift cards. United Sport and Cycle, your Santa's workshop for over 95 years.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk. Elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Now, if I lift this up and then hit it right here.
No, it's hit, then lift.
What are you guys doing?
We can't get this thing to work.
For guaranteed same-day service, call Franco Sorgiovanni at Corporate Business Solutions before someone makes it even worse. Most issues can be resolved within 20 minutes or less. Corporate Business Solutions is an authorized Konica Minolta office equipment dealer for sales and service. Call CBS today at 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
Since 1987, Ram Elevators and Lifts has been raising the bar and more by manufacturing superior elevators for both residential and low-rise commercial buildings. What drives them? A vision of accessibility, because they know that an elevator or lift is more than just a mechanical device. It's the freedom to go where you want. Ram's North American-made elevators, starting as low as $32,900, are rated as the best residential elevators by Forbes magazine. Grounded simplicity, elevated design. Click on trustram.com.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Need a change to winter tires? Drop by a Mr. Lube location for no appointment tire service and sales. Open 7 days a week. If you're in Spruce Grove, visit Mr. Lube on the corner of Century Road and McLeod Avenue, or shop tires online at mrlube.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantor. We've continued developing tools and are excited to announce our newest design, battery-powered nut runners. 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. Learn more at cantor.com.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back to the Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Live on Oilers Nation YouTube. How you doing? Hope you're having big plans for the weekend. Remember, it's a matinee game tomorrow, 2 o'clock Edmonton time, where they face off against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Then they will roll into Florida Monday, Carolina on Wednesday, and Washington next Friday, also an afternoon game because it is Black Friday in the U.S. So, Oiler fans, hey, might be taking an extended lunch break, potentially. I tell your boss you want to have like an internal meeting with the boss. Say, but I'd like to go out and, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll go to the brew house. All of a sudden get boss like, oh, there's no other game? Yeah, I didn't know that. Hey, extend your meeting. There you go. Subtle. Very subtle. Let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. Exciting AJHL action tonight and tomorrow night down at the Grant Fuhr Arena. Get your tickets at sprucegrovesaints.ca. 7 o'clock puck drop tonight against Canmore, tomorrow night against Brooks. Brooks always a big draw, so check it out. sprucegrovesaints.ca. Of course, you can get your tickets at the door. Two-time gold medalist Loriann Muenzer, of course, she is the Monday co-host on the Kevin Carrier Show here on Sports 1440. Joins us every Friday at 3 o'clock. And Loriann, because outside of being an athlete, now you coach a lot of different athletes, right? What would be like the proper is it personal coach? Like what would you deem it as? Like what would be the proper terminology?
What I'm called and what I call myself is a mindset coach. I'm a thinking coach.
Okay. So then that's very good. I want to get that word out there because I think it fits in many of the listeners are like, okay, you watch Jack Campbell play. He's in the NHL now. He's in the American League and he's really struggled even in the American League. His struggles actually seem to be getting worse in the American League. Like there's pucks that are literally going right through him. And so now I know he got a mindset coach or according to Kevin Woodley this summer. Because he's a guy who's historically been very hard on himself. Like after games, he would lose, and it was always his fault, right? And you can respect that to a point, but then sometimes like, hey, man, not every goal is stoppable. Even if you want to say it isn't stoppable. So what would be like the first step in the process of trying to get an athlete to not be so hard on themselves?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to have a picture. What is it that you do? I mean, anybody that I talk to, one of the first questions you're going to hear me say is, so, Jason, what do you want to do? Right?
Okay, yeah.
And goals are pictures. Whether or not they're crystal clear or they're foggy or it's complete blackout is a whole other story. Number one, you got to get crystal clear on what it is that you want to do. If you're in a slump and you're starting the season, you're midway through the season, you're at the end of the season, there's a number of different factors, right? How hard are you on yourself? Where's your mindset? Is it there all the time? Are you able to get out of it? If you're not able to get out of it, sometimes you just got to totally step away. And I was thinking about Jack today because I'm going, my God, this is like deja vu for me when I was in Switzerland in 2003. I went to what I thought was cycling heaven. So that could be his NHL Oilers. And I got overtrained. I got injured. My times were the slowest I had ever done. I was like, my whole season was abysmal. And one of the best things that I did was I actually stepped off and I got out and I took 3 months off. And what I did was I went back to the drawing board. So either we can keep going or you can go, look, take a time out. Whether it's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know what kind of a schedule he's on. I don't know what his prerequisites for playing. I know as a goalie, there's a lot riding on you.
No.
And if a goal goes in, you win, you're a hero. You let the goal in and you lose the game, there's just everybody jumps on the bandwagon and there's criticism, whether it's right, whether it's wrong. The other component that I work with athletes is on what we call self-image.
Okay.
How do you see yourself? How do you want to perform? If I'm going to the Olympics, I have to have that champion mindset, be it, act it, talk it, walk it all the time. If I'm doing a national championship leading up to the Olympics, and we talked about this another Friday, is I'm still trialing that mindset at the national championship so that when I get to the Olympics, I'm already there. And you never, ever take your foot off the gas. But the question is, there could be other factors out there affecting the game, personal, family, maybe there's health stuff. I don't know.
Well, you look at it, and it was interesting you mentioned you took 3 months off. I'd be fascinated if now we have seen some players, they take an extended absence from an organization.
Yep.
It's probably a little bit more common now than I ever recall it being before, but it's still, you have to have an organization that's open to it. Number one, that says, okay,
Absolutely.
You know what? I understand why you're doing this. We'll support you. Here we go. Because if you look at it for now for Jack Campbell, like, I'm not sure it can get any worse. Like, if you watch the goals that went in his last few games in Calgary, you're just like, oh my goodness, like, it's not unlucky. Like, the goals are literally ones that should be regular routine saves are literally going right through him on the short side on the ice, just inside the goalpost. You're like this guy has enough talent. He should be able to, like, just on a pure talent level, that's a save that 99% of pro goalies would make 99.9% of the time.
Yep.
So, like, that's fascinating to me to think, you would take when you take time away, because I know for young athletes, one of the biggest challenges is when they're training and they want to get to the next level is they're like, well, I can't take a day off. If I take a day off, I'm
you're in
falling
trouble.
behind.
Yeah.
But the truth is, by taking a day off, it allows your body to rest and you can actually get further ahead. So when you took 3 months off, how hard was it to actually not do anything physically?
I wasn't, like, I didn't stop training. I just didn't race. I still rode my bike, but I went and did everything else I hadn't done.
Okay.
I became a social butterfly. I went to parties. I went out to, Sidetrack Cafe when that was here. I went and I did a bunch of fun things. I connected with friends on a regular basis because that was my lifeline. And I knew that component was missing, but also to the season, not to Jack's favor here, my season was over. It ended like in May. And I said, okay, I'm done. Totally got away from it. If I rode my bike, it was just for fun. I did not do any tracks, so I was not in the arena. And I went and I got my head reset. And sometimes you got to take a reset. But like you were saying.
So when you sort of interrupt, when you got your head reset, it wasn't because you went necessarily and went and spoke to anybody. It was just, I stopped stressing out about thinking, eating, breathing,
Cycling.
My sport.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And I took off every pressure that I had. It was like, look, my season is done. Typically, I take a 3-week vacation where I don't do cycling. I don't do any sports. I do everything else. I'll go hiking. I'll go swimming. Everything I did not do. I'll take a vacation. You can't do that mid-season because that's just not the way you do it. But the thing is, sometimes you do have to say, look, I need a leave of absence. I got to go, deal with some situations, or you know what? I just got to take a step away.
So if Jack was your client and you've worked with professional athletes and he's in hockey so you're going to have to go ask for a leave of absence. Let's hypothetically say they granted him a leave of absence. What would you recommend he does during the leave of absence?
Number one, create the self-image of the man, the goalie, the athlete, the professional, the champion that he wants to become, that he wants to be.
Okay.
That's where I would start because that is huge. Number two, and it's not one or the other because they both go hand in hand, is what's your goal? Like, do you want to play NHL? Do you want this? Do you want to get out of the trough, like, what is it that you want to do? Because the two of them will go hand in hand. Your self-image, you can only go as far as you see you are. So if like, I was a perfectionist, like bad perfectionist. And yeah, I would go really hard on myself, especially if I didn't win, if I lost a race, if I didn't move into the next round. And it's like, okay, what do you need to do? Like when you're on your game, what are you doing? When stuff goes sideways, what have you done in the past that worked? And it's about bringing a number of those elements, but it's also the number one thing physically that we did was I went back to the basics. What are the things that made me fast? What are the things that made me successful? And did I have a plan? I had a plan when I took 3 months off. I was going out to party. I was going out to play. I was going out to movies. I was going out to music, and I was hanging out with friends.
So now I've had a few people tell me that watching a few goalie guys watching, they feel that right now, Jack Campbell, one of the issues maybe outside of the, his mindset is that they're not sure he's strong enough to push off to the level that you need to be successful as a goalie. So let's say hypothetically that's true. It's almost impossible to repair that during a season, isn't it? Because most of your best training comes repetitive for weeks, and you build up and you build up. So if that was the issue, and so the person, maybe goalie coach, somebody in the organization says, man, like, you got to get stronger, right? Could that be just a starting point and say, okay, you know what? We're going to go into a month-long, get your body up to the strength where you can do that stuff. Because maybe that in itself, because if you don't feel confident, because I'm sure you knew at times when you were capable of winning physically.
Absolutely.
And then when some races you knew, even if you had your best race, for whatever reason, physically you weren't there. Right? You probably, the elite level athletes, I think, have a pretty good feel of where they're at. Maybe you have a minor little injury or whatever it is, or maybe you didn't train as well as you should. For the most part, you would know. So,
but it's more mindset, Jason.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Okay.
Even physically, like the guys coming into the game, they're going to be pretty close. There's going to be some that are maybe not as strong, as powerful, or as big as some of the top guys. But it's the mental aspect. They say, and I totally agree with this, you're the problem and you're the solution.
Yeah.
And the one thing that will make the game change is the decision you make. Am I in or am I out? And you cannot be in the middle. And as soon as you start waffling, that's when your game goes in the tank.
Loriann Muenzer joins us here on Sports 1440. As a coach in your, let's say, you interview a client and now you have the client. I would think not every coach is going to be a good fit for a client, and not every client is going to be a good fit for the coach.
Agreed.
How would you know as a mental coach it's not a good relationship?
Number one, maybe the work's not being done. Number two, there's that niggling feeling of, do you believe
what I'm saying?
What you're going to do? Because it doesn't matter what I think of you. The only thing that matters is what you think of you.
Right.
And that's a huge confidence factor. And what do you want to do? So many people, I see so many athletes, so I'm playing for this person or I'm playing for this person. Okay, if they're not around, then what do? There's always going to be one person that is just sticks in your mind, that is there, maybe in the voice in your head that says, you know what, you can do it. You've got it. You've got to dig, and you've got to go and break things down into your mind, into small chunks, and go out and execute them. You've done the drills thousands of times, and I know Jack has. I know he has. The question is, what's all the other noise, all the other junk?
What about, and I think that's very fair, at what point is there ever where maybe physically you just aren't capable of it anymore for whatever reason?
Yep.
Right. How do you know that as an athlete? And what if you see that as a coach, do you have to tell your client?
Well, that's a good question. As an athlete, if you see the numbers, you've got certain numbers, whether it's like bench press, leg press, watt tests. You know what? Your numbers don't lie.
Sure.
You got to make your decision. If you can't make this decision, then you know what? It's the decision of the coach.
Yeah. And often that will happen in pro sports. Hey, he got sent to the minors. It wasn't a decision that he wanted.
But
right?
it's a partnership.
Yeah.
That's what I
between
think.
the coach and the athlete, yes.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. I'm just like, when you see where it's at now, like there is not going to be just like a one day snap his fingers and suddenly Jack Campbell starts coming back. Like, this is a long turnaround. Is that a fair assessment?
Nope.
No, you think
it could be just like that?
Really?
I see it all the time. Absolutely.
Like somebody who's struggling this much?
Yep. We take a timeout, we reset. This is where I work one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, all right, you have a decision to make. Either you're in or you're out.
But even if he's in,
then it becomes a question. The next one is, so what are we going to do? Not you, but what are we going to do?
Okay.
So you've got the roadmap,
mm-hmm.
but you're in charge of the execution. You're also in charge of designing it. Because if something isn't working, how old is Jack?
He is
33?
Ooh, I don't even know if he's that old. I thought he was 29, but yeah, I'll look it up. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's 33.
I don't know. Late 20s?
31. We're right in the middle. Yeah.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah.
I was close. He's been doing this for so long. It's like, you've got to contribute it. If something isn't working, it's got to be a dialogue. And then let's figure it out. Figure out the way.
I'm kind of fascinated to see just, where, like, the easy thing is people say, well, just buy it out, because then it's kind of, problem solved. Although it's not really problem solved, because now the Oilers got more dead cap space and they can't, like, the Edmonton Oilers, I believe there is a massive investment for them to at least try everything over the next 4 months to try to salvage Jack Campbell. Now, maybe he's not salvageable as a starting goaltender, and people will say at $5 million, he'll never be a $5 million goalie. That's possible. I don't know the answer to that. So as an organization, what would be the 3 most important steps that they need to do to show the athlete that they support him? And in what way can they?
What are the 3 things to show Jack they support him?
Yeah.
Number 1, what do you need? Not what everybody else thinks he needs, but what do you need? And then let's go do it. Make it happen. You only need those 2 things. Because Jack's the only one who knows what he needs.
Yeah, that's fair.
If he's not aware of it, because the problem is sometimes we're not aware of what we're doing.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Videos don't lie in training, like pull out the camcorder, pull out the video, right? Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So it's like, okay, then what is it that you need? Follow your intuition, your gut instinct, and go, what do you need to make this work? Let's table that and let's go do it.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here over the next few months with Jack Campbell. Great stuff, Loriann. We appreciate it. We'll listen to you and Kevin Karras Monday morning.
Thanks very much.
That is Loriann Muenzer, Olympic gold medalist. Will return. Dave Naylor will join us. The Elks for sale. Ooh, we'll discuss next on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Live and Oilers Nation YouTube.
Everyone loves a comeback. Hi, I'm Colin from Cantork. The flame of Edmonton sports fever burns bright. Cantork proudly continues our partnership with Jason Gregor, excited to re-enter the arena of sports radio on Sports 1440.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Looking to tackle your backyard projects with power and precision this fall? Look no further than Kubota compact tractors. Experience the perfect blend of compact size and unbeatable value with Kubota. Right now, take advantage of financing as low as 0% for up to 84 months and save up to $1,500 on select models. Plus, as the temperature drops, get ready for Alberta winters with confidence with Kubota Performance Match snowblowers, sweeper, and blades. Visit Edmonton Kubota today for details.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Action Electrical is expanding throughout Alberta. With the recent acquisition of Big Hill Electrical Services in Cochrane, Action Electrical is the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta. What does this mean for Action Electrical and Big Hill Electrical Services? It means that they are able to support their clientele all over Alberta with the same high level of professionalism and integrity. From conception to completion and beyond, throughout Alberta, contact
The Professionals
at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Our cars are our lifeline, and every now and then we need to take care of them too. Cochrane's Automotive services your vehicle with pride. When you need to fix it up, bring the whole family fleet. Junior's WRX, Mom's MPV, Dad's 1500, or even Grandpa's old 88. All makes and models are welcome. Trust Cochrane's Automotive to professionally repair your family's pride and joy. They've got you covered for Volkswagen diesel timing belts too. Call 780-452-5001.
Don, buddy, want to come over and watch the game? I'll make a big salad.
I don't know, man.
Steve, come over and watch the game. I've got a massive salad here.
Yeah, my wife needs me to go shopping with her.
Mike, want to watch the game and eat salad with me?
Who is this?
Did I mention I've got a bunch of Will Hawk beef jerky too?
I'll be right over. I'm heading over now. I'm already at your front door.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
Will Hawk is the home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
In Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
At Toyota, we build quality vehicles with you in mind. I mean, it's not like we're always thinking about you. We're not obsessed or anything. We just know you value your 9 to 5 as much as your 5 to 9. And with the reliable RAV4 always ready to roll, you're capable of making the most of both. It's time to make every moment count. It's time at Toyota. Lease a 2024 RAV4 LE all-wheel drive from $95 weekly for 64 months at 7.29% APR with $3,499 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today. FYI, still thinking about you.
Ho, 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 how low can they go? This holiday season at Buy Low Foods, they go way low. Get incredible savings with the lowest buy at Buy Low Foods.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
He's Alberta's sports authority and lead touchdown winner of his family's backyard flag football games. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through Positive Friday, Sports 1440. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. We're having yourselves an awesome day. Big plans for the weekend. It is Grey Cup. What are you doing for a Grey Cup party? Oof, nachos, baby. It's a tradition. Love the nachos. No onions, though. Gross. Nachos, chicken, lots of cheese. Oof. Some good guac. I use sour cream. It's amazing. So good. Can't wait. Can't wait. Actually, sometime, you know what? I don't even use sour cream. We just use Greek yogurt. Basically, it's the same. It's a little bit better for you than sour cream. So it's a little tip there for your nachos. Just a tip. Let's get to the Grey Cup report now, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year. Stay warm all winter. You get a furnace, no payments for 1 year at legacyheating.com. as we are joined now by Dave Naylor from CFL on TSN. And Dave, interesting. We'll get to the Grey Cup in a second, but I had mentioned this over a year ago. I thought when I look at the BC Lions and some other teams, I thought, hey, I wonder if private ownership is a realistic option for the Edmonton Elks organization. What do you make of that? Obviously there have to be a buyer first off. I'm not sure there necessarily is one, but how open do you think the league would be to having the Elks become a private organization?
My understanding at the league level is I don't think they would face much opposition to that. And I think Randy Ambrosie, the commissioner, in his address, this came up when there was during the State of the League address on Tuesday. And Randy Ambrosie gave what I think was a very appropriate and truthful answer. He said, we would support whatever Edmontonians decide is the right model of ownership for that franchise. And to me, that meant if they decide to go down the road to private ownership, we will not stand in their way. And that is what I believe is the league's perspective on this. And I do believe that they are going to explain. We reported this back in August, when there were changes at the presidential level, that among the things that were going to be on the Edmonton Elks agenda, and look, the crowds last year weren't hard to see, and you can do the math, right? And that it's not a situation. One of the limitations of public ownership is that when you get into a situation like the Elks are in, you don't have somebody who can just stroke a check and say, well, we're going to invest our way out of this thing because the money's not there. At a certain point, at least, the money's not there. My understanding is that's going to be the issue for the Elks, which is why they're going to have a conversation about ownership. And I think there's going to be an exploration of all the options. And this is very similar to what we talked about in August. There's going to be an exploration of continuing on with the community ownership model. I think there's going to be an exploration of private ownership, both in terms of multiple owners, group ownership, or maybe even a single individual. So I don't think there's necessarily an agenda here, but I do think there is going to be an exploration, and not necessarily tied to how do we make sure that this team stays community ownership. I don't think that's going to be the agenda in the offseason in Edmonton.
Yeah. Well, I look at the offseason Edmonton, Dave, and I'm not sure, considering how much money they've lost lately, that they have the finances or the wherewithal as the board to say, well, now we're going to get rid of Chris Jones. Yeah, the CFL will waive the penalty as far as the management salary cap, but we still got to pay him, and we'd have to pay him for 2 years, then plus pay the replacement DC, replacement head coach, and the replacement GM.
I'll correct you on that one little bit.
Maybe they've got an appetite for it, but I'm not sure they do. Do you?
Well, I'll correct you on one bit of it. My understanding, as Chris Jones's contract is written, the termination language in it is that they, even though there are 2 years remaining on it, I believe they would only have to pay him out for one. That is my understanding. Again, this is something we reported back several months ago. But that point aside, that's one of the issues, right? And because whether the league may bring in another mulligan so that teams can erase terms left on contracts of fired coaches from the books, so they're not going to have that punitive nature element to it, which the Elks have run into some problems with. But real dollars are real dollars. whether they're erased from the books on the punitive side, you still got to pay them out. And so I think that's a consideration. I mean, and the thing that's odd is that going back not that long. I mean, some people used to refer to the Edmonton franchise as the Yankees. Because they had this giant war chest, and they could just kind of reach back and do whatever they needed financially, especially in the era before the true implementation of the salary cap. I mean, there was an era where the CFL had a salary cap, but not really, and that those days I think are behind us. So it's not that long ago that people looked at this team as having an enormous economic advantage, and all of a sudden they've been at an economic disadvantage. And again, when you're talking about revisiting the ownership model, this is not an option. This is a necessity to get this team to where it needs to be. And, I want to just be careful where I'm taking this conversation. I don't think the Edmonton Elks are in any danger of going out of existence. Okay? No, that's not what we're talking about.
Yes,
what we're talking about is an examination of what is the best ownership model for this team to go into the future in this modern era of the Canadian Football League. And I think that involves all kinds of different things that they have to look at and try to say, what is and you've got examples of both, right? Right now you've got 6 teams in the league that are in private ownership, and you've got a public, but the gold standard team in the league right now is a public ownership team, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And if I was to say that the kind of downside of public ownership is it can seem to really ebb and flow with the quality of your board. And I'm not trying to besmirch the board in Edmonton right now. And I know the board turns over. So when people talk about the board, it's not the same board today that there was 4 years ago and things like that. But even just from the Winnipeg example, I think that's part of what you're kind of at the mercy of when you have the community ownership model.
Dave Naylor joins us on Sports 1440. So it will be something to watch for. What's your gut tell you on Chris Jones, Dave? So if they have just a 1 year, do you think they have an appetite to bite the bullet and pay him out for 1 year?
It is my belief that Chris Jones will be the head coach of the Edmonton Elks next season, and he will be in place. And I don't know what they might do around him football-wise. I think that's going to be an interesting situation to watch because, there's a whole management team and coaching staff is not just about one person. It's about, multiple people. It's like putting a puzzle together. And I think if you don't have to have too many conversations around the Canadian Football League to hear what people say about the situation in Edmonton, where they think Chris has just got too much on his plate. And everybody understands why that happened. It was a function of this whole football operations cap, because you're paying Brock Sunderland, because you're paying Jamie Elizondo. And if you're willing to bite those bullets, you're really going to restrict yourself. Chris, I don't want to say he got the job because he could do both jobs, but let's just say that was a massive advantage for him going in there. But, there's a lot of people right now who look at the teams in the league, around the league right now, where you've got people doing both, and those aren't necessarily the most successful teams in the league. I mean, Winnipeg being probably the greatest example, where you've got, a GM and two strong assistant GMs and a head coach. It's not all consolidated under one guy. So I think, again, I think the kind of 1A story in Edmonton for me this offseason, besides dealing with the ownership, is what do they do with their football operations side? Is it going to be Chris Jones, exclusively as the head coach and GM? Are they going to bring other people around him? How do they get the best out of Chris Jones? That's really the answer I think the Edmonton Elks organization has to ask themselves this offseason when they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with football operations. But I believe certainly in some significant capacity, Chris Jones will be in Edmonton on the opening week next year.
So now let's move to the game. The Montreal Alouettes, full marks, man. Their defense, they dominated against Toronto. Arguably, the MOP had his worst game of the season at the most important time. That's you throw 4 interceptions. It's just not the game Chad Kelly envisioned having for sure. The Bombers 4 straight trips to the Grey Cup. You just don't see. I don't see any league. You don't see it very often. To me, they're the clear favorite. I don't see Zach Caleros melting down, and no offense to the MOP, I just don't see that hhappening. If Montreal's pulling off the upset, Dave, what has to happen? What do you see as their best chance to pull off the upset?
Turnovers in plus territory. Like that. Here's how Montreal wins this game. 1, it stays a low-scoring game. I think if it's a shootout, they're not going to be able to keep up with Winnipeg. And I think they've got to find themselves on some short fields. Cody Fajardo is not going to leave this offense on 105-yard drives very often, okay? Yeah. But if they get, if Winnipeg turns the ball over on their own 19, and Winnipeg and Montreal can cash that in. If they get a big return like they did last week, which was really the dagger in the third quarter against the Argos, and we're talking about a low-scoring game, that's where Montreal can win this game. And I think it's a clean football game, just exchanging possessions, and there's no turnovers and no teams racking up a bunch of penalties. Winnipeg wins. But you look at what Montreal has done the last 2 weeks, right? First drive of the game, Hamilton's marching, boom, turnover. And it's like they never really recover from it. Well, what happened the very next week? I mean, I'm standing at the concourse level at BMO Field watching Chad Kelly drive the offense down the field, and it's just slice. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This isn't going to be a very good game. This is going to be a blowout. It's going to be a wild party for the people in the stands, but no one's going to say it was a great football game. And then bang, Marc-Antoine Dequoy steps in front, catch the ball, 106-yard touchdown return, and the Argos never recovered. So that kind of punch in the mouth element that Montreal's defense could deliver, they've done it. It's almost like if you think of a boxing analogy, you're in the first round and the guy who's the favorite takes one right on the chin. That's what they've done 2 weeks in a row. And I'll be interested just, for the way it's played out to see what happens on Winnipeg's first possession in this game. They don't necessarily have to do it on the first possession, but that's the game script that I believe could lead to a Montreal victory.
Any names to watch for, Dave, as free, like who are the most intriguing names you think they're going to hit the free agent market this upcoming offseason in the CFL?
Well, let's take a guy from this game that I'd be really interested in seeing, and that's Dalton Schoen. I mean, Dalton Schoen's playing on a rookie contract, and I don't know the specific numbers of his deal, but for a guy like him, you know, who was a Kansas State star, but a walk-on at Kansas State, I don't think he got much attention. He might have got a little bit of attention to the National Football League coming out of college, but he certainly wasn't a guy who was, you know, seen as an NFL player. So he's probably playing for about $80,000 Canadian. Okay, the first year in the league, he led the league in touchdowns and receiving yards. And then this year, you know, he's right at the top of the league all season. He gets injured. We still don't know if he's going to play on Sunday. He's not practicing this week. There's a really intriguing one. And, you know, like you think about it, they got Kenny Lawler on their team right now, who's a great receiver. I mean, you guys know you saw him in Edmonton, but he's making $300,000 this year. How, you know, so if you got Kenny Lawler, what are you paying Dalton Schoen? So he's the most intriguing, I think, because again, he's about 26 years old, right? Maybe might be 27. So you got a guy early in his prime, a guy who's been absolutely healthy his whole career until this last several weeks. He can stretch the field. He can catch balls and get you yak yards underneath, and he's a touchdown machine. That's the one I think that is the most intriguing for me. And another one is and this is a bit of a lesson here in how to manage your career sometimes as a quarterback in the CFL. Think of what Trevor Harris did, right? When he was kind of, you know, lost his gig in Edmonton and he goes to Montreal and then he signed for like $110,000. You know, and it's just like, hey, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to take a backup role behind Vernon Adams. I'm just going to kind of catch my breath and try to reset my career. And then the next year he's making $500,000 a year in Saskatchewan. Dane Evans is that guy this year, right? Dane Evans was the starter in Hamilton. It didn't go well. Ticats trade for Bo Levi Mitchell, and they end up trading Dane Evans to the West Division for a song, and he takes again about $110,000 a year contract, somewhere in that range, to play behind Vernon Adams. And Dane Evans played really well in spot duty this year. And I think there's a whole bunch of teams that are going to want to line up for Dane Evans this offseason, because this is a guy who's been a winner. You know, he played well this season. And there's so many teams that would like somebody to come in and maybe challenge their guy. You know, I think that could be Edmonton. I think that could be Calgary. I think Ottawa might look at him in a situation where, again, he could go in there and compete with either Dustin Crum or Jeremiah Mazzoli if they bring him back on a reduced deal because of his injury history. All of a sudden, a guy like Dane Evans, an experienced guy who's been a starter in this league, who's still young enough and isn't going to cost you $500,000. I think it's a great, you know, career strategy that these guys have used. And I think you're going to see that play out this offseason.
Dave, great stuff, man. Enjoy Grey Cup. Enjoy the spirit of Edmonton, because Grey Cup isn't complete unless you've been in there a few times. So have fun. Pace yourself.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, man.
There you go. That is Dave Naylor from TSN. So interesting about the Elks. Yeah, Jones, we thought he was coming back for sure. So he will be. And ownership, there would have to be somebody to step up to do it. I haven't heard any names. I know we have people say, hey, do you think the Cates group would? I'll have to ask them. I know a few years ago when I brought up the subject, they're like, wow, they'd never really looked into it. They didn't think it was really an option, but things can change. Right? And then, you know, what's the price point going to be? Right there. That's the big one. Like anything, now might be the time to buy it. I know people are saying, well, so now the taxpayers are going to sell this at low. Well, first of all, did taxpayers ever benefit from the Elks? Like, no, you didn't. Now they would have some money left over and they'd put it back into other funds for sure. And they would help out other programs, specifically junior football and different things like that. Fantastic. But let's make no mistake. They're community owned, but it wasn't like they do things in the community, but there wasn't like this money that was getting put back all the time into to help financially for taxpayers. That never happened. Quick break. We'll return when we come back. A historic milestone. Anze Kopitar very quietly became only the 19th player in NHL history to have 1,155 points with the team. He passed Luc Robitaille, second all-time in LA Kings scoring history now. But Sidney Crosby, at the rate he's going, Sidney Crosby could pass Gordie Howe for 1,809 points, have the most points with one organization. Kopitar probably going to end up top 15, top 10 maybe at the rate he's going. So we'll get to all that. And also 1,000 gamer next. The Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
This is a commercial for Corporate Business Solutions.
Corporate Business Solutions, aka CBS. That's also known as CBS.
As I was saying, Corporate Business Solutions empowers any business to become more efficient and profitable with office machine technology that really works.
That's why they're the #1 Konica Minolta authorized dealer in all of Western Canada.
Well, why don't you just read the next line?
Sure. Corporate Business Solutions. Local service, local support, local always.
Visit cbsca.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
When you hand deliver a hamper to a family in need, everyone's hearts fill with joy. Be part of the Holiday Hamper Program, a charitable experience unlike anything in Edmonton. Sign up to adopt a local family, fill a hamper with food and gifts, then bring it to their door and see the difference you're making firsthand. With the rising cost of living impacting so many families, the need has never been greater. Sign up for the Holiday Hamper Program today at holidayhamper.ca.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties including the Alberta Junior Hockey League Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, and the Hockey Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. A new state-of-the-art entertainment center is set to open in Nisku, which will feature 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and restaurant with a viewing area.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Hi, Dennis from East Johnson. Are you one of those people out there looking for something different to heat and cool your home? East Johnson is Edmonton's cold climate heat pump specialist and would love to explain to you how Trane heat pumps are a reliable, cost-effective alternative for your home's heating and cooling needs. Order your Trane heat pump now and take advantage of the generous government rebates that are available. Trane, it's hard to stop with Trane. Call the most experienced HVAC company around with over 45 years in business. Visit wjcools.com today.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
Black Friday early deals are on now at Canadian Tire. Save up to 50% on kitchen essentials, tools, Christmas decor, and more. These prices won't go any lower this year. Ends November 22nd. Conditions apply. Visit CanadianTire.ca or flyer for details.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Roger Weert and his team at Weert Pearson Akelin Associates Private Wealth Management, helping business owners and professionals build, protect, and enjoy their wealth. Earn more now and call Roger and his team at 988-4119.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday continues on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, live on Oilers Nation YouTube. It's always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. If you missed it, look for Connor Brown to return to the lineup tomorrow afternoon for the Edmonton Oilers. He'll skate in a line with Connor McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. They will face the Tampa Bay Lightning, who were victorious in Chicago last night. The Oilers are, I guess, the more rested team for this matinee. tomorrow. We had Lightning goaltender Matt Tomkins on in the first hour of the show. Still wasn't sure after they landed if he was going to get the start against his hometown team, and mentioned obviously he wants to. So we'll find out tomorrow if he's going to get the nod or not. Let's go in the community now. Brought to you by United Cycle. Fourth-generation family-owned and operated business in the heart of Old Strathcona. They've been supporting hockey and the community for over 95 years, and you can stop in right now and, hey, do a little pre-Christmas shopping at United Sport and Cycle. And coming up this weekend, a big milestone for our next guest. He is going to call his 1,000th game as the voice of the Camrose Kodiaks. Tim Ellis joins us. Tim, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, Jason. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm excellent. 1,000 games, man. That's it's quite the accomplishment.
Well, as I said, it just shows how old I'm getting and how quickly I'm getting there. So, but no, it'll be fun, I think.
Well, I would think it would be fun. Man, you most play-by-play guys have a pretty good Rolodex of players they've seen. Like, there's lots of good AJHL players that have gone on. So obviously, Cale Makar would be one of the greatest ones lately. To come out of the AJ to go to the National Hockey League, but there's obviously been other ones that you've called. You've called a lot of games in different barns, I guess. Where was your first game?
First game actually was in Sherwood Park at the Sherwood Park Arena, and it was the start of the 2007-2008 season. And you mentioned one of the NHLers, Joe Colburn. I had the privilege of calling his final season in the AJHL, and he actually scored the first goal, a shorthanded goal. That was my first goal call. Actually, it's a two-part answer because that was my first regular game. I actually filled in for the play-by-play guy the year before in the 06 playoffs when the Kodiaks played Grand Prairie at the Max McLean Arena. I did it from a scissor lift at one end of the rink, so that was my introduction to play-by-play. I thought, well, I don't know. I hope this gets better. It did.
Now, was Jonesy the play-by-play guy before you?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he. Well, they came into the league in '97, and they didn't have any play-by-play until 2000, 2001, their championship year. And they said, "Well, geez, we got a pretty good team here. Let's go get some play-by-play." So they actually started right here on 1440, which was in Wetaskiwin at that time. And it was Jonesy, that started calling. He got all the good championship calls in the RBC Cup. I only got a couple of those. He got about 3 or 4. So he beat me to the punch on that one.
Yeah, no, it was great. Actually, we used to do on when we had anysportanytime.com, I called a game from the old Camrose Arena that still the longest AJHL game in history. It went 5 overtime periods. And I remember calling that game, and it was just bagged afterwards. And so I love that barn. Like, the vantage point of the old one was unbelievable for a play-by-play guy. You were right up at center ice, like right above the ice. It was awesome.
Yeah. No, I probably owe you some royalties because I actually have your call in my. I'm an audio hog. I have your call of that goal by Matt McKnight. You sounded quite. What was the word? Exasperated, or man, I'm glad this is over, but the team lost. It's quite the call I got from that.
Oh, geez, I'd like to listen to that. You might have to send me that. I haven't heard that in a long time.
I'll have to email that to you.
Oh, that'd be great. So you know what? You travel all around, and lots of people sometimes are you're in the AJ, and a lot of them are looking at the AJ as a stepping stone to maybe go to the WHL or other levels. And why were you comfortable staying at the AJHL level?
Well, I got started in this pretty late in my career, actually. I mean, I was 20 years into my news career at CFCW. And so by the time I took this over, it was I'm pretty much settled into what I'm doing here, and the aspirations to move up and move a family and go somewhere else was not really. I mean, if a position came along and it looked pretty good, a guy might do it, but it's just that wasn't the reason I took on this job at the time. I mean, when I came to CFCW in the late 80s, and then we took over the rights of the Oilers briefly in the early 90s and got a chance to talk with Rod Phillips and that, and they said at that time, well, geez, hang around, Rod might be retiring. Well, of course, that didn't happen for another 15 years, but anyway, so by the time I got this gig, it was pretty late into the career, and they've treated me so well. It's like, well, let's finish this out. So,
of the 1,000th game, if you had to pick a few most memorable, what would they be?
Well, I've always said that the most memorable was the 2008 Alberta Junior Hockey League final Game 7, Kodiaks and Fort McMurray. Kodiaks were up 3-1 in that series, lost Game 5 at home, lost Game 6 in Fort McMurray, had to come home to Game 7. We're without Alan York, another of those NHLers, and he was injured, but he came out in Game 7, and Colburn scored in that goal. There was 3,300 fans, I think, in the new Encana Arena, which had just opened that season, and the atmosphere was unbelievable. So that definitely was one. And then also that year in Cornwall, Ontario, at the RBC Cup in the final against Humboldt, and the Kodiaks lost 1-0, and Joe Colburn again should have had a goal, but somehow Taylor Nelson stopped it. I think that's maybe one of the only times I had to stop a goal call halfway through one, and that one really sticks out. And there's some other ones. One in Okotoks in the 2011 playoff run, Game 5 there, I believe it was. Dalen Flett made an unbelievable save in overtime, and John Lidgett scored the game winner. And so there's just a few of them. A couple in Brooks that year in 2011 as well. There's a bunch, but those definitely come to mind.
Okay. You look at kind of how the league's evolved. So you've been calling, this is, I think, year 17, if my math is correct,
Yes.
for you calling games. And, like any sport, the league has changed. It's obviously grown to a few extra teams. Which arenas outside of Camrose are your favorite to broadcast from?
Well, Grand Prairie, that arena built for the Canada Games there years ago, is a very nice spot. If they'll let us up in the press box, which I think we're back there again this year, but that's a great place to call a game from. It's up high, it's at center ice. You get to see everything. So that's a great game, a great place to call from. Brooks used to be, but now we're kind of in the corner there. But I mean, that's a nice arena. You get to see from there. But if you're at center ice in the press box there, that's obviously a good place to call a game from. And actually, maybe a surprising one really is Canmore. We were just there this past weekend, and you're right at the top of the seats. They only have the seats on the one side, but you're kind of right in the fans. You get lots of atmosphere from both sides. There's usually a bunch of Kodiaks fans in the building because the billets will come down, the parents will come down for the weekend or whatever, and you're right in the middle of the action. So that's kind of one of my quaint favorites too.
Tim Ellis joins us. He'll be calling his 1,000th game this weekend for the Camrose Kodiaks in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. Just give me your overall perspective of how the league is going this year. A new format with one division, and everybody's in the whole division, so it makes it a little interesting come playoff time and such. It's early on, but what do you think of the change? Do you prefer it, or do you prefer two divisions?
Well, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I've been at this for a long time, so I think I prefer the two divisions. You really got a rivalry going. I mean, for instance, last night played the Dragons for the first time this season. Hadn't seen them until now. We don't see Okotoks till December, I think it is. So you just kind of miss, I think, those South Division rivalries. And of course, I mean, it doesn't really matter in Camrose because travel is really not an issue for us in the middle of the province. But a little more travel. It just seems kind of odd, I guess, after so many years of having the divisions. And I know they're going to be having their semi-annual meetings coming up here in a week or so. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of discussion over this new schedule and how it's affecting teams with travel and dates. And so I think they've got a lot to hash out. I don't know if they'll do much at these meetings, but I think next summer in the annual meetings come June, I think there's going to be lots of discussion, and it's going to be interesting to see whether they continue this way or if this was maybe a 1-year experiment and might go off the rails. It'll be fun to watch.
Interesting. Well, Tim, enjoy game 1,000.
I will do that. Thank you.
That's Tim Ellis, voice of the Camrose Kodiaks. 1,000 games, man. 17 years being the voice of the Kodiaks. Good for him. It's great. So you know what? Leagues like that, you need lots of guys like that are just heavily invested in the league. They know the insides and out of the league. It makes for a better broadcast and really allows the fans of those teams to have a good understanding of what's going on and who's involved. It's great. 3:58 when we return. Wanye Gretz will join us. We have Help Your Neighbor, your final chance to qualify. It's Positive Friday. This could really be a Positive Friday for you because you could qualify to win a brand new furnace for someone in your inner circle or just a coworker or someone else. So That's coming up in the next hour. But first, a comment and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. The Road Ready sale event is on right now. Up to $225 off select tires and an additional $50 off when you book any service through until December 16th. Only at fountaintire.com. Some restrictions apply.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Just 3 games in the NHL tonight. The Red Wings earlier today falling to the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2 despite getting off to a 2-0 lead in the NHL Global Series. Later tonight, Sabres take on the Jets. Panthers in Anaheim to take on the Ducks. Of course, the Oilers in action tomorrow, 2 o'clock start, taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Connor Brown expected to return to the lineup in that one. In the association, tournament play continues. Celtics in Toronto taking on the Raptors. Tip off at 5:30. Got the 76ers in Atlanta. Wizards host the Knicks. Magic take on the Bulls. Nuggets in New Orleans. Jazz host the Suns. And the Rockets taking on the Clippers. Also, Trailblazers host the LA Lakers. 6 games in the AJ tonight, including Spruce Grove hosting Brooks. Sherwood Parks in Bonnyville and Spruce Grove will host Canmore. Those games get going at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Spruce Grove will host Brooks and Sherwood Park taking on Canmore here. Golden Bears hockey tonight. They will host the University of Regina tonight and tomorrow down at the Drake. Both those games at 7. The Pandas on the flip side in Regina tonight, 6 more at 4 at the Saddle Center. Bears and Pandas volleyball teams in action this weekend taking on the University of Winnipeg. The action will get going tonight at 6 and tomorrow at 5. The McEwen men's hockey team is having a home and home series with Mount Royal tonight in town, tomorrow in Calgary. The women doing the same tonight in Calgary, tomorrow in the city. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host Wanye Gretz from Oilers Nation. Also, Craig Button from the NHL on TSN and the last 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit bieeng.com.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
It's simply the best time to buy. The Black Friday event is on right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. You'll save up to a game-changing $7,500 off your purchase or finance as low as 1.49%. Choose from a winning selection of 2023 cars and SUVs like the sleek S60 or the roomy and comfortable XC60s and 90s. Black Friday is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
Thinking about solar power? Action Electrical wants to eliminate your entire home or business power bill and keep more cash in your pocket. With effective paybacks in 5 to 9 years, give solar a chance with Action and put your lazy roof to work. Alberta is the second highest province for the amount of full sunlight hours, and with system life exceeding 25 years, solar power is like a McDavid draft pick. Still have questions about solar power? Contact the professionals at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Your furnace is broken. Legacy Heating and Cooling will give it a good talking to and make it smarten its act up right now.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If your furnace is disobedient and refuses to heat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you just want some peace of mind this winter.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Plus, Legacy never charges overtime rates. Always call Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Black Friday early deals are on now at Canadian Tire. Save up to 50% on kitchen essentials, tools, Christmas decor, and more. These prices won't go any lower this year. Ends November 22nd. Conditions apply. Visit CanadianTire.ca or flyer for details.
Fact: 1 in 6 Alberta men will face prostate cancer. So please support the Man Van, the mobile testing clinic for prostate cancer. Visit prostatecancercenter.ca to donate in November and keep it in Alberta. All donations go towards the Man Van and stay right here in Edmonton.
Get your vehicle ready for winter with Jiffy Lube. Drive-in, drive-out service with 25 extra air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Be wise, winterize. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Portions of this hour are brought to you by Crystal Glass, the clear choice for all your auto, residential, and commercial glass needs. Call 310 Glass or book now at crystalglass.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday. Welcome back to the Gregor Show. Sports 1440 coming to you live from the eWell studio, EWEL.ca, your one-stop shop for all your electrical needs. And not only anything electrical, they'll also, hey, you got a project that you need, make sure that it's going to look great. Oh, they can help you out there too. EWEL.ca. I'm Jason Gregor alongside Connor Halley. Remind you, Oilers, 2 o'clock start tomorrow. And it's almost a pick 'em at PlayAlberta.ca between the Oilers and Tampa Bay. So the Oilers, you know what? Despite their record, they're still getting a lot of respect. It's pretty much even money, whether you're picking Tampa or Edmonton in that game tomorrow. So the over-under is 7. As a guy who likes, I never like bidding the under. Probably should, though, but I never do. We welcome into the program Wanye Gretz from OilersNation.com. Joins us fresh off a purchase that only Wanye Gretz would make.
What on earth do you mean?
Yeah, there's not many people that would be just randomly searching the internet. You're like a web guy who obviously is on the internet a lot. And you come up and you find a 1984-85 Oilers Stanley Cup ring. Now, not one of the players' rings, but like an employee lady who was part of it, and you end up purchasing it.
Okay, so first of all, it was sent to me by a Nation citizen.
Oh, okay.
So I'm on Instagram.
So you weren't
OilersNation.com. No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
And he said, "Hey, boys, look what just came up for sale on eBay." Andrew Smith is his name. Smith spelled like Ryan Smith, I might add.
Okay.
And he said, "Wanye, you should buy this cup ring." And like long time caller, first time listener, I would love to own a cup ring. Are you kidding me? This would be a phenomenal thing to own. So I look at this listing and it says right on it, not a player ring given to somebody in the organization, 1984-85.
Mm-hmm.
That's still a cup ring.
Well, theoretically, yes.
Henrik Lundqvist doesn't have a cup ring. I have a cup ring. Now, granted, it's made for a woman in 1985, but I have a cup ring. Jerome McGinley doesn't have a cup ring. I have a cup ring.
Well, he has an Olympic. He has a medal, I guess.
I'm not claiming to be an Olympian.
Yeah.
I'm claiming to be a Stanley Cup champion.
Yes.
And so this arrived.
So now what will you do with said ring?
Well, it's a magic amulet, first of all. So everyone, you're welcome. I've introduced the new cup era because you use it as bait for a new cup ring.
Oh.
You get an old cup
Paul
ring.
Coffey.
Well, Paul Coffey's got the Big Daddy from that year.
Yeah, he's wearing it on his finger on the bench.
I'm like him, but one level down, but above normal people. Because I'm a cup champion. And everybody needs to remember that going forward when they talk to me.
Oh, is that what you want me to introduce it now as?
Stanley Cup champion, 1984-85.
Well, owner of a Stanley Cup champion.
That's
ring.
semantics.
Yeah,
That's semantics.
But I would, it's true.
I have it in my possession.
Yeah. Well, possessions, what is that, 9/10 of the law?
So it was only up for sale for like 90 minutes total between this person putting it up for sale, this guy messaging us, because he messaged again and goes, "Oh, it's already sold." I'm like, yeah, to us. And I sent him a screenshot. He's like, this is the greatest website in the history of the internet. You guys are crazy. And like, so it's an amulet. It's good luck. So if it's game 7 or we need maximum luck, best believe I will bring the cup ring to the event or to the game.
Like, are you going to purchase something you can carry it around?
I'm going to get a museum grade display for the office that mounts to the floor. So people can come and look at it. You know, like
it
a religious.
Mounts to the floor.
It can't be stolen.
Oh,
this is a valuable thing, like the Pope's teeth.
What if I want to come in and like? So what's the mount made of?
Like when you go to a museum.
Can I saw it?
No, it's going to be lucite, Superman grade.
Lucite. Ooh,
oh yeah, you know, if you've been to like the British Museum and they have like something real valuable there, it's in a display case that you could drive into with a Buick.
Yeah,
you're not going to get into it. That's what we need for this ring.
Uh-huh.
Think of how close we are to a cup ring. How many new people have received Oilers Stanley Cup rings since 1990? Not many.
Well, 0.
Well, no, there might be some people selling or whatever. Somebody, right when Mr. Cates bought the team, remember all 5 rings sold to somebody anonymously, but it wasn't him?
Oh, that's right.
Remember? So they do change hands occasionally. That's why it's so rare to see one for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's made for a lady, and I can't fit it on any of my fingers, but you can't have it all, Gregor. Where would you put it?
Now, do you let your son wear it around until his hands are too big?
Well, I would certainly let him think about it. But I don't know that he can be trusted with this kind of responsibility. It's like Gollum in Lord of the Rings. What if the power starts to take over?
It's funny that you mentioned that because that's exactly what I was thinking about. I could see you hoarding this ring with that type of ferocity.
Yes. I was earlier today. I had to go somewhere and it was in my bag in the car and I got about 20 steps away and I thought, no. And I went back and got my bag because my precious was in the bag.
Hey guys, there's nothing theoretical about the validity of that ring. That's an official Stanley Cup ring.
Is that Gary Bettman?
No, it's a GM Parisian. Now, it's a Stanley Cup ring for an employee, which is just different than Stanley Cup ring for a player.
But I knew that going in.
Yes, no, it's very true.
I didn't claim I had Paul. And interesting about that era of Oilers hockey too, Peter Pocklington assigned some rings that were each year. They weren't real diamonds. And Gretzky found out, had gathered them all up and had the diamonds redone.
Yes.
So for this era, these diamonds are real. So whoever had it was of value to the point that they got real diamonds.
Imagine Peter Pocklington.
What a move, eh?
Oh,
what class by Gretzky, though.
Yeah, no, very much so. So there you go. So that'll be the difference, maybe, as you're saying. When did you purchase this officially?
45 minutes after I saw it. During that's the other moment. We were losing in the Islanders game when we bought it, and now we're undefeated since. So again, you're welcome. We were down 1-0. We won 3-1.
I got a question.
Go ahead, caller.
When you put it in this case, could you put like a switch so when you flick it, like lights turn on around it to kind of give it an aura?
Well, yeah, you should have a light on it. So when you open up the lid, boom.
The diamond sparkle, boys. I won't lie to you. The diamond sparkle, when you look at it, like a couple spotlights on this thing wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
But how do you attract a cup ring? Using another older, crappier cup ring as bait. Today, a ring no one can wear. And tomorrow, a real cup ring.
And now, are you going to go get it cleaned?
You think it needs to be cleaned?
Well, yeah, I think so for sure. You don't want to clean it so it's all crisp. So because if you're a believer and get that's a 1984-85 ring, you want to make it clean so it sparkles again.
But this has never been worn a day in its life.
Back. It's never been worn a day.
No. It's been sitting in this eternal cool case.
You don't know that. You're guessing.
Well, I'm making things up, but I'm its owner.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, there you go. Hey guys, that's pretty cool, actually. How would you find out? I'm curious what site this was sold on.
eBay.
So you just Google out Oilers Stanley Cup rings, because I think on eBay, if there's something you want to buy, you can get a notification.
Yes, Edmonton Oilers merchandise.
So yes,
and Andrew Smith.
Okay, so
Andrew Smith, our boy, he was getting notifications. He must have.
There you have it. Are you believing that the Oilers are back on track to respectability, or are you still cautious?
I'm in cup mode. Okay. And the Oilers can either rise to my 1984 level. I think we're back. And if we're not back, I just want to feel that we're back, even if we're not back, just to have that feeling again, because there's no reason at this exact minute to be sad.
No, that's fair. It's Positive Friday. Positive Friday. I will say, in the history of Positive Friday, it's the first time someone has brought in a Stanley Cup ring from an employee.
That's
of
a
the
woman.
1984-85. Yes, a woman Stanley Cup ring from 1984-85. First time ever in the history of the show. So it's good to make history.
It's a legendary move.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's bold.
I was going to bring it to events and be like, if you want to take a picture with the ring, it's $2 and all the toonies go to Gregor's Grads. And this is worth a photo with $2. You want to be a champion like me? You want to help out Gregor's Grads? Toonie ring.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey.
This is about you, Gregor, and the Stanley Cup too.
It's a Positive Friday edition of the Jason Gregor Show in Sports 1440. Jason Gregor alongside Wanye Gretz, new owner. If you haven't, if you're just joining us, new owner of a woman's ring. It's authentic. It comes with the whole, it's got all the letter of authenticity and everything like that from 1984, 1985. How much did you buy? Am I allowed to ask?
I have no problem telling you.
How much you buy it for?
$4,500 Canadian.
$4,500.
But surely it'll hold its value. There was somebody on eBay selling Wayne Gretzky's junior high yearbook for $2,600.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, but no one bought it.
But it's listed.
Yeah, well, listed. Hey.
Well, hey, I'm just saying, is this worth 2 Gretzky yearbooks? Easily. It's gold and diamonds. It comes with a gem report.
Oh,
this is a great purchase. $4,500. Do you think that's too much?
No, I have no idea. Honestly, I don't. I have no idea on what would be value to, because I'll say this, value for something like this is all in the eyes of the beholder. It's all about what you value it at is going to be different. What Connor values it at, or I value it at, or Grant, or Paul, or Sarah, or Mary, who's ever listening. Everybody has a different level. Like I've probably purchased things that people are like, what? Like I bought a piece of art once that, maybe got caught up in the moment a little bit too much. And then I was just like, oh, geez, look, because you get to that art place and you go in the room and they sit you down and you're having a few drinks and then they turn the lights on and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. And yeah, I spent more money on that one piece probably than anything else combined in my house that I've ever owned, as far as it's something that, like you don't wear.
Will it hold its value?
Regularity. Well, I would hope so. It's a Peter Lick, but I have no idea if it's going to hold its value or not.
I don't know who that is.
Well, exactly. So I'm not sure. I don't know. He's a pretty renowned, he's a photographer. So it's not like he draws it. It's the big grand.
That's beautiful. I've seen it at your house. That's a nice.
Well, it's big enough. Yeah. But either way, I remember my wife and I purchased it and that was fine. But I do remember when it got delivered and I put it up on the wall and it's like, oh yeah, that's really nice. And then all of a sudden I was like, I remember you take you get your Visa bill and all of a sudden, what the hell's going on here? Then you look, oh, geez, I forgot I purchased that. And you're just like, yeesh. So yeah, you know what? Some people wouldn't. Everybody's going to have something that they value differently than someone else.
I didn't have an eBay account, so I just sign up on the fly as a guest and try to buy this thing. And eBay immediately locks the account because you can't just be rolling in and buying rings. So I had to work it out with eBay, and then the transaction goes through, and then my bank immediately phones me being like, some lunatic's trying to buy a Stanley Cup ring on eBay with your money.
Yeah. Hey, are we people are asking, am I allowed to touch the ring? Can I show it on
course.
YouTube? We'll show it on the YouTube channel. For anybody who's,
of course you can.
All the YouTube watchers of the show. Maybe we'll take a picture. Let's see if I can put it up here properly so everybody will be able to see it. Maybe I'll just put it really close to the camera. No, then it's too.
Let the light hit the ice.
Yeah, the camera doesn't really do it justice because as I put it closer, it gets blurry. So, but yeah, you'll see it. It almost looks like it's like a wedding ring.
It looks like a child's track Jostin's yearbook photo ring.
That's actually very good. That very good description.
But Stanley Cup edition, Edmonton Oilers.
For all those people out there, remember when you won the 200 meter in grade 8?
Even smaller fingers, grade 6.
And you're just like, oh yeah. Right, you come home, you're excited, and your parents bought you the ring from Jostin. Well, it's kind of what it is, except it's a Stanley Cup ring.
And there's no question it's a real ring.
Oh no, it's authentic for sure.
When we win the cup, you guys are going to be so happy to join me on the other side.
Oh, I love it. We'll take a quick break, and before we do that, it is Positive Friday. It is also the final day to qualify for Help Your Neighbor. That's going to come up after Craig Button. I'm just giving you a warning. So Craig Button's next, then your final chance to qualify for Help Your Neighbor. And on Monday, we will do the draw, and somebody's going to win. They'll win the prizes for themselves, which, of course, is tickets to the Order game on December 8th. And you'll also then get your choice, courtesy of Legacy Heating and Cooling. Whether you want the Ecobee Smart Thermostat installed in your home, you'll get that. Or you can get the Google Nest, either one that you want. But then you will gift somebody a brand new high efficiency furnace Comes with all the bells and whistles, right? Comes with the inspection fees, thermostat. They'll dispose and remove of the old furnace, 5-year labor, 10-year parts, and a lifetime warranty for the heat exchanger. It's valued more than your ring, Wanye, just so you know. $7,000 for this package. So we'll do that on Monday. Your final chance to qualify is coming up in 20 minutes. After Craig Button on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Wolf GMC Buick, all Denali's are on sale. Terrain, Acadia, Sierra, Yukon, all Denali's are on sale. Get special 0% financing for 48 months on all remaining Sierra Denali half-tons because all Denali's are on sale. I'm not kidding. Every in-stock 2023 GMC Denali is on sale. All Denali's are on sale. Hurry into Wolf GMC Buick for the best selection. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy because all Denali's are on sale.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Order the juice, get the points. Now at Booster Juice, it's rewarding to be loyal. Introducing the Booster Rewards app, the reward program to give you a boost. Order on the app and enjoy 1 berry point for every $1 you spend. Redeem it for tasty Booster Juice treats like your favorite smoothie, a booster ball, grilled fresh wraps and paninis, and cool Booster Juice merch. And with the Booster Rewards app, the more you order, the more you enjoy. Download the Booster Rewards app today. Order, earn, enjoy.
How do we do it? Well, at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we invest. Our money and time goes right back into technology and training, and it's all designed to get you back into shape. We invest in people, the people who really care, and they understand how your body works. Then they combine their experience, training, and skills to work with you to help you solve your issues, be it pain in the back, neck, arm, shoulder, heel, literally head to toe. Leading Edge Physiotherapy, always taking new patients because we keep fixing the old ones. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already. Yeah, we're working in your basement, doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy. With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Denim Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denim Ford for the past 65 years. Denim Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President Award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denim Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denimford.ca.
Cars cost less than Wetaskiwin.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We've continued developing tools and are excited to announce our newest design, battery-powered nut runners. 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. Learn more at cantork.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.423. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day. It's time now to get it is a Gregor Show, always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, as we welcome in Craig Button from TSN, former NHL GM and scout, also scout and ace analyst for TSN, and him and Wanye Gretz now, both owners of Stanley Cup rings. Craig, of course, won one as a member of the Dallas Stars in 1999, and Wanye just purchased an employee's 1984 and 1985 Edmonton Oilers Stanley Cup ring, Craig. So now you guys are both Stanley Cup ring owners.
Welcome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if you saw the Vegas Golden Knights rings. They were phenomenal. And I think that if you wanted to get the full replica, it was like $75,000. And the replica, I think just the replica ring was like $3,000, right? I mean, it's made, my ring sits in a safe deposit box, Jason. I'm not a big jewelry guy. I don't wear it. And, it's a great symbol and a great memory. I wear it when I'm doing anything with, Dallas Stars related or whatnot. But for the most part, I don't even wear it. And, it's just interesting. But, I saw Craig Cunningham last night at the Calgary Flames game, and Greg's just a wonderful person and works for the Vegas Golden Knights. I said, you got your ring? He goes, that thing, you need a forklift to carry it around with you.
Oh yeah, nowadays they're massive. This one's a little bit smaller. This is an 80s ring. It was actually a female employee's ring, so I don't think it'll. I don't even think it'll fit on Wanye's baby on his baby finger.
No, it wouldn't. But that's not what it's about.
Finger, yeah.
It's about you use an old cup ring to lure a new cup to town. It's bait.
Wanye, that's pretty impressive. Like that.
There's science behind it, sir.
Well, so really what it is it's like a new bait. It's what we call Stanley Cup bait.
Yeah, exactly.
Something here, you might be able to market this.
We need to change the discourse.
Listen, I'll tell you where to go, Wanye. I mean, you're trying to get one. Toronto Maple Leafs fans, I'm telling you, this could be a big seller in Toronto.
A long time. Craig, last Friday when we talked to the Oilers, of course, had lost to the San Jose Sharks, which was obviously terrible for them, worse for me. But the Oilers have since won 3 in a row. They made the coaching change. Well, prior to that, of course. What did you make of the coaching change? You've been in the like people like, well, just be patient. Most of us thought the Oilers would turn things around, and obviously they have. And I don't think that the coach is the main reason. Not taking anything away from Knobloch, but what did you make of the decision, having sat in a GM's chair before?
When GM coach are always talking, what can we do better? What are you thinking about in terms of improvements? What's your idea with respect to solutions? And you're in that constant talk. And, the coaches are sitting there, they're conversing, trying to find solutions to whatever ails the team. And so, but as the team continues to struggle and continue to come up short, you start to ask yourself as a manager, because you're talking to the coach. It's not like you're sitting in isolation here. You're talking to the coach, and you're going, well, wait a second, I'm not seeing any type of tangible evidence that things are improving. And coaches, and I may have said this to you previously, Jason, coaches do not lose, their place in standing with a team because of X's and O's or systems for the most part. They lose it because they can't find solutions to the problems. And, sometimes you need to just make a change. And, you're hopeful that coach, and Jay had a lot of success trying to, you're hopeful that he can find the solutions. But as you're continuing to fall back and you start to really ask yourself, okay, do we need to make a coaching change? Do we need something different here? Because what to me was becoming evident is that despite Jay searching and trying to find those solutions, he wasn't finding them, or they certainly weren't getting applied for the team. And listen, I mean, the coaching change decision was made after the San Jose game. Jay and David got to coach another game in Seattle on the Saturday night, but the decision had already been made that they were going to make a coaching change. And, I think it's evident, you hear this all the time. Oh, well, they're going to need to win tonight to keep their job. Well, Jay won that night and he wasn't keeping his job. It was already, the wheels were really in motion at that point in time. I think that it was a move that, based on the expectations of the franchise, that was necessary. Jay was running up against it, and I think from a accountability point of view, a solution point of view, I just think that a change became. I think it became necessary. I believe I said that the coaching seat was hot in Edmonton after Thursday. For him, it was no longer a seat that he was going to be able to sit in.
So you look at the Oilers now moving forward. I think anybody who watched the games, it's pretty obvious what the issue is. They're leaking goals all over the place, and that's been an issue for a long, long time. And, you can bring a new coach in. Jay Woodcroft had kind of stopped that a little bit. You look at the final 40 games last year in the regular season, the Oilers were the highest scoring team, and they were the fifth best in goals against. But then in the playoffs, they gave up too many goals again. To start this season, they've gave up way too many goals. So Chris Knobloch might be the best technical coach in the history of the game. Craig, he might be the fantastic motivator. But if this player group doesn't collectively decide to play smarter, more consistently, I just don't see how this changes.
Well, you've been on that beat for a while now, and I totally agree with you. Are they as bad as they were through that stretch of games where it was just porous defensively? No. Are they as good as they were down the stretch last year for, where everything was humming along? And I don't think the answer to that is yes. So you start to look at, you're right. And so where I come back to it, Jason, how good is this group of players? How good is the group of players? We know that the top end is fantastic and terrific. There's no question. But Bruce Cassidy said, our third and fourth lines beat Edmonton in the playoffs last year. Our third and fourth lines beat the Oilers. The Oilers don't have a third and fourth line. They simply don't. So when you get up, can they make the playoffs? Yeah. Can they win around the playoffs? Yeah. We've seen that because 29 and 97 are great players, and everybody else can ride that wave. But when you get up against the really, really good teams with depth, I don't think the Oilers are built to do that. I don't think they're constructed to do that. And that is where you talk about, and you're right, the players have to put in the time and the effort and be dedicated to it. Rick Tocchet now is talking about buy-in with the Vancouver Canucks defensively, buy-in. And that's, I think that's the term. It's a common term used in hockey. And the buy-in's got to be all the time. I thought the other night against the Islanders, I thought they were lucky to win that game because their buy-in in that game wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. Was it? The Seattle game, not the Islander game.
Yeah, Seattle game. Yeah,
the Seattle game. Their buy-in was terrible. I mean, they were, in my view. Hey, listen, take the 2 points, run with it. And for Chris Knobloch and the coaching staff, they now, hey, wait a second, we can't play like this. If we think we're going to get away with that, we got something. We're delusional. And they gave up lots of different rush chances and grade A danger chances. You can't do that. And that's not even, the Seattle Kraken are not even a top team.
No, it's been an issue for sure. Looking around to some other teams, Craig, the Washington Capitals, man, who the Oilers face in the final game on this road trip. The Capitals being banged up. Nick Backstrom had to step away from the game, might never play again. Comes out of their lineup. Their power play is 7.7%. TJ Oshie has 1 assist. Yet here they are. They're dominating at 8-4-3. What do you make of the Washington Capitals? And is this just a hot run, or is this a veteran team that you think can compete for a playoff spot?
I would say, it's pretty impressive. I think there's a couple answers I have to this. They're a team that has some capability, and they're getting some good goaltending, some timely scoring. Remember the Eastern Conference 2 years ago when everybody had 100 points and the Eastern Conference isn't at that level anymore. So that gives teams that, like the Washington Capitals that had some injuries, like teams such as the Pittsburgh Penguins who struggled a little bit early on, a chance to get back into the hunt. I don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs. I don't. I think it'll ultimately catch up to them. I don't think they're deep enough. I think that they've been able to find a way to be competitive in games. Spencer Carberry's done a really nice job. Kirk Muller and Mitch Love are there with them. And, this was a team under Peter Laviolette last year that missed the playoffs and were competitive. Do I think the Caps will be competitive? Yes, I do. But when I start to look, I don't think they're as good as Pittsburgh. I don't think they're as good as New Jersey. I don't think they're as good as Carolina or the New York Rangers. Well, that leaves them fighting for the second wild card. Can they be in that hunt down the stretch? Perhaps, but I don't think they have enough depth to be able to carry it through.
Craig Button from TSN joins us. You mentioned Rick Tocchet and the Vancouver Canucks. I know they lost to Calgary last night, but like their top end guys are their best players right now. Are their best players. Their goalie's playing great. Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, 1, 2, 3 in league scoring. And when your best players, you're going to win. The Canucks are going to come back down to earth a bit. I still think they're a playoff team, but when you look at them, Craig, what impresses you most about them outside of their top guys? And then secondly, what do you think the area that Alvin's going to be looking at improving between now and the deadline?
I think if he can improve the blue line, if he could add a little bit of size back there, a little bit of an improvement on where they're at. I mean, they've made strides in that area. I mean, Ian Cole's a big-time competitor. He's a bottom pair defenseman. Carson Soucy's out right now, bottom pair defenseman. But Philip Hronek is a really good player that can play in your top four. If they can get another player, another defenseman in there that can play top 4 minutes, and I'm talking really hard, important top 4 minutes, I think that can go a long ways, towards, solidifying their team and strengthening their team. One of the things watching them, and I was at the game last night in Calgary, one of the things, and Rick Tocchet, really has them playing a really strong defensive system. They don't give up very much. They cut the ice in half. They stack the middle. They say you can have the puck all you want on the outside and keep it there. So when you watching them play, and he's used the term buy-in. Rick Tocchet's word first, he goes, what, we bought into what we want to do, and they do it. I mean, they were a little bit tired last night. Rick acknowledged it after the game. You're going to have nights like that. They were waiting for the Calgary Flames to fumble and stumble, and they got the 1-0 lead because of that. But then Calgary played a really good game. But you got Demko. You've had improvements on the blue line incrementally, and the top end part of their forward group is really, really good. And actually, we talk about Pettersson, JT Miller's been excellent. Brock Besser's been excellent. They have some weight. Hoglander, given some weight down the lineup. We know Kuzmenko is a good player. They got some balance in that group too. And the other thing about their team, they have some weight and they have some ability to push you and grind you. And I think that's a recipe for success, not only in the regular season but once the playoffs begin.
How high, what do you think is going to happen in Ottawa, Craig, with DJ Smith? How long before a change is coming? It just seems like, he's just on the kind of just walking the fence and it's only a matter of time. Or am I misreading that situation?
I totally agree with you. You watched the game yesterday. I mean, they're up 4-0, and then defensively, it's tiresome. I don't even know what to call it. I mean, it's
Edmonton Oilers defense, Craig.
Comedy of errors, right? And it's a team that I think is more than capable. And when you look at structure and you look at defensive posture and positioning and how you play, and it's not just the defensemen, it's everybody working in that regard. And in the defensive zone, I think they're real. And I thought there was some improvements early, but it doesn't seem to be cemented. That's on the coach. It's the coach's job to instill systems of team play that give you a chance, whether it be the penalty kill, defensive play. Those are areas under the control of the coach. So what I see right now is a team that doesn't have very good structure, and it feels to me the same way as it feels to you, that DJ Smith's that they're going to have to evaluate the coaching position there, because I think the team is more than capable of being in the playoffs, and I think that others feel that way as well.
Craig, Bo Wakey orders a top prospect. Robin Brownlee reporting earlier today that he's done for the season. Shoulder injury today. I'm not sure where he would have been if he would have had a realistic shot at the World Junior team this year, not at 18. But a big blow. And when you look at key development years for young players, that's just a terrible one for him. It's November 17th and his season's over.
It is. He didn't have a chance at the World Junior team this year. And that's not a criticism. It's just, he's 18 years old. He's not ready for that level yet. But, when you think about rehabbing an injury at the same time you're trying to develop, it's a real, it's a setback. Is it something that is long-term hindering? I don't think so. I mean, he's a good skater. He handles the puck really well, and all the different parts of his game that you really kind of are attracted to. And certainly you don't want to see a player, go out with an injury, but I don't think it's something. It's disappointing. It's disappointing first and foremost for the player. And now you got to ramp up and get that shoulder healthy and get ready to come back and play, because these players missed, and players in Ontario missed a lot of time. They missed 18 months of playing time, and Bo was in that category. So it's 18 months because of COVID, and now you're looking at another 6 months, right? So that's 2 years of development time that certainly sets you back a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Craig, great stuff, man. Have yourself an awesome weekend. We will chat with you on next Friday.
Your T-shirt reminds me of Sacher Ellis from Sopranos. I'm looking at it.
Well,
is that Sacher Ellis?
It's Scranton from The Office.
No, I know what it is, but I always think of Sopranos. And
yeah, well, we run in different circles, Craig. We run in different circles.
See ya.
Yeah, have a good one. That's Craig Button from TSN. It's Positive Friday. It's your final chance to qualify for Help Your Neighbor. Very easy. We're going to start how we ended it. The word positive. Text the word positive with your name. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Your name and the word positive. Got to spell it correctly. And you could qualify and help your neighbor and gift somebody, because on Monday's the draw. You're going to be the last person to qualify. You can get in. You could win a high-efficiency furnace courtesy of Legacy Heating and Cooling, and we'll give it away to somebody who really needs it in your inner circle. Next, on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
Full service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Black Friday early deals are on now at Canadian Tire. Save up to 50% on kitchen essentials, tools, Christmas decor, and more. These prices won't go any lower this year. Ends November 22nd. Conditions apply. Visit CanadianTire.ca or flyer for details.
When you hand deliver a hamper to a family in need, everyone's heart fills with joy. Be part of the Holiday Hamper Program, a charitable experience unlike anything in Edmonton. Sign up to adopt a local family, fill a hamper with food and gifts, then bring it to their door and see the difference you're making firsthand. With the rising cost of living impacting so many families, the need has never been greater. Sign up for the Holiday Hamper Program today at holidayhamper.ca.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
At Toyota, we build quality trucks with you in mind because everyone loves a friend with a truck, especially a Toyota. A truck as dependable and capable as you are. So when that inevitable ring-a-ding-ding for help comes, you're there, rolling up in an award-winning truck because you're an award-worthy friend. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2023 Tacoma 4x4 double cab SR5 starting from $119 weekly for 64 months at 7.79% APR with $6,499 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Are you getting a share of the profits from your bank? Each year, Vision Credit Union returns about 75% of our credit union profits to our members through profit shares and cash dividends. Last year, our profit share payout was $14.25 million. That's a big cash infusion for our members and for rural Alberta communities. It's time you got your share of the profits. Find out how at whatsyourshare.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EWELL. From LED lighting audits and retrofits to design-built distribution systems, EWELL services can give you the edge you need to impress your clients. EWEL.ca.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back, Positive Friday. How are you? Jason Gregor, Wanye Gretz, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440 Live on Oilers Nation YouTube, where the picture is, if you want to see the ring. Ooh, lots of text coming in wanting to see the ring. So yeah, it's just like might have to start calling you Gollum from now on. We'll see how that goes. It is the final day of Help Your Neighbor, where you can win prizes for yourself. If you get through today, you get the Sports 1440 hat. You will also have the Google Nest installed or the Ecobee Smart Thermostat, courtesy of Legacy Heating and Cooling. You'll have a pair of seats, lower bowl, where the Oilers attack twice on Friday, December 8th. Oilers home game against the Wild. And then, most importantly, you will be gifting to someone that does not live with you. You can't give this to your spouse or your partner. They have to reside in a different house. They have to own their home. They have to live within 100 kilometers of Edmonton. It will be a high-efficiency Goodman 96% Energy Star furnace with the Honeywell thermostat. Comes all the permits and inspection fees, removal and disposal of their old furnace, 5-year labor, 10-year parts, and the lifetime heat exchanger warranty. All courtesy of Legacy Heating. We're going to give that away on Monday. And Robert, you are the final qualifier today. Congratulations. How you doing?
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome.
It's a big Positive Friday for you, my man. You get the new hat automatically, and then you go into the draw. We've had a month now. You've been thinking about it. Do you have anyone that you know who needs a furnace?
Well, probably either my dad or my sister. I'd have to check to see who needs it most.
All right. Well, yeah. Might have to get you some beers in return. So you see what your negotiating skills are over the weekend. Do some research, because on Monday, if we call your name, you'll be winning and they'll be winning. All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
There you go. It's It's that easy. So the draw will come in on Monday. Looking forward to that. So there you go. Now, let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. And right now, The Brick, they have the guarantee. They're committed that their Brick's holiday pricing is the best you can get. If by chance you purchase something and you find a lower price, they will match it and refund you the difference. Boxing Day prices, Black Friday Day prices. Whew, it's pretty sweet. Check it out at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, question number 1 for you. Of course, Connor Brown returning to the lineup tomorrow. He's one of a couple Oilers that have yet to score a goal this season. So the Oilers who haven't scored yet, who is going to be the first to light the lamp?
I'll go with Derek Ryan. I love me some Derek Ryan hockey. I love me some Derek Ryan goals. I think one's due.
Well, that's fair. There are definitely a few Oilers sitting with the goose eggs right now. There's Brown, and then there's Broberg, Lavoie, Hamlin, Ryan, McLeod, Cody Ceci. But yeah, I'm going to go with the low-hanging fruit. I think Connor Brown's the obvious one. I actually thought Brown's game, if you go back and look at the numbers, the last 5 games before he tweaked his groin, everything in his game was coming around except offense, and that was on the third line. I think he'll give a little bit of a boost, a little bit of extra speed on that top line. So I think Brown will be the first.
Question number 2, I've asked the panel about Coach Knobloch already, but when you look at Paul Coffey and the team's play defensively since he's arrived, what has stood out to you?
Well, to me, the most noticeable one is the real big emphasis on just they're moving the puck quicker. You see it like it's a real point of emphasis from Coffey, and I've seen that. I think like Nurse can really skate. Right, Brett Kulak's a fantastic skater. Broberg, when he ends, obviously is a good skater. The other guys are decent skaters. None of them are terrible skaters by any stretch, but you just see a bigger emphasis. Like watch Vincent DeHarnay, how they're trying to have him not just throw the puck away. They're looking to make plays.
I would think that the Paul Coffey memes are in much better situation now that he's behind the bench. Before, we weren't really getting a lot of good Paul Coffey laughs. Now we're having a good time. So that's been an improvement.
Lightening the mood in the room. Question number 3, of course, we've got the NHL Global Series going on right now in Sweden. Where do you think would be an ideal spot for them to land perhaps next year?
It would be awesome to see them play a game now. This, of course, would never happen, but in Reykjavik, Iceland, because I think that's one of the coolest places in the world. And seeing the NHL go over there and play an outdoor game in like the cool fjords with all the geothermal steam coming up, that'd be amazing.
I'm going to go with Bratislava.
Any particular reason?
Well, I have a few friends from there, number one. Also, it might be one of the most attractive cities, not just the city itself, but the people in the city that you've ever been to. So I will say Bratislava.
Question number 4. Who's winning the Grey Cup on Sunday? What's the score? And what song does Green Day lead off with at halftime?
I had to Google who was in the Grey Cup, so I know the answer. And the answer is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are going to win because they came up first in my Google.
Yeah, that's fair. What about Green Day?
I didn't Google them. Time of Your Life, I suppose. They love to play that song at all the big events.
That's too slow.
Slow it down for the Grey Cup? Let's just think about it. Think about all the times we've had.
Like, I'm trying to think. Well, I think the Bombers are going to win by 31-18. And honestly, I'm trying to think of a Green Day song.
American Idiot at the CFL championship?
Yeah.
So poignant.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. Like, is Know Your Enemy a good one to play? Probably not. Like, I don't know. Like, I like some of Green Day songs, but yeah, which one they're playing first? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just go with Burnout. Cons, what about you? What do you think they're playing?
Oh, well, I mean, like, I feel like a snob when I say this, but I don't enjoy their newer stuff. I'm more of a fan of
their older stuff, 100%.
Like 1997 and before that, maybe like Basket Case, Welcome to Paradise. I love Hitching a Ride, Longview, so one of those, but I bet it will be like a Holiday or something.
You know what they should play is Enter Sandman.
Wild card.
That'd be amazing. Green Day played Enter Sandman. Woo!
Final question for you guys. Hypothetical Friday. If you could afford a live-in maid or butler, would you want one?
This isn't hypothetical for me. I have a live-in butler, Wanye Jr., and he's 3 years old, and he is not good at his job. He gets distracted easily, and he hasn't answered the door in weeks.
Yeah, like my house isn't big enough. What's a butler? There's no benefit for me for a butler, or a maid. To me, if I was having one, I'd want a chef. Like a chef, like that's something that I could really benefit from and enjoy. So
cool.
yeah, I would take a chef. Now, my wife might be screaming because she does most of the cooking, but so that would be a benefit to her too. And she's a very good cook. But I just think a chef, like I make breakfast all the time. That's kind of my thing. Obviously, I work till 6, so I can't really make dinner. But a chef is just like, I would just love to see the different things the chef would make. And I would, plus you could have, hey, make me like super healthy food all the time. It'd be awesome. Cons?
No, I don't think so. I don't want them living with me. Like if they were to come in maybe a couple days a week, clean up,
okay,
here and there, I would, but I don't think I'd want them living with me. Granted, Ashley and I are in a condo right now, so it'd be a little snug. She'd have to sleep on the couch, and that might be a little tight. So right now, no. But hey, we're moving soon, so maybe it'd be a nice little thing to have.
I'd want my butler to live with me, and I'd want him to maintain eye contact with me at all times. And if I ever looked and he wasn't looking at me, you're fired. Keep an eye on the big prize at all times, I'd tell him.
I like it. I like it a lot. Now, before we go, it is Positive Friday. And before we go to break, last summer, we had came in on the old station on 1260. We used to do story time, and we get lots of different people on the show. And guy who became a friend of mine, he had played for the Rush, and then he was actually a color commentator with me for many years. Johnny Maurice, Johnny in the summer of 2020. That's when he kind of had his first diagnosis, and then ended up having metastatic colorectal cancer. Johnny was only 39 years of age, and he unfortunately passed away earlier this week. And on Positive Friday, I just want to send our thoughts out to his parents, Ron and Barb, his brother Dave, his lovely wife Jamie, their 2 young kids, Merrick and Afton. It's life can be very unfair at times, to say the least. And I just wanted you to listen. John had, when he was on the show this past summer, he knew that, this day was coming, unfortunately. Johnny passed away earlier this week, but he kind of knew this day was coming. And just as a reminder on a Positive Friday to listen to what Johnny said then about kind of how he changed his mindset, realizing, what his diagnosis was.
Basically, it's cards you're dealt. Okay. It's like you're dealt a crappy hand from whomever dealt you the hand, and you got to play them as best as you can. And I will play this card and this hand as much as I can. I mean, whether it's good or bad, the outcome, I will play it. And like I said, it is very isolating, like you were alluding to about being alone. And there's sometimes I had to stay home from my son's game, which it really hurts. But thankfully, I have an incredible support network. My in-laws, Don and Shirley, and also my dad, Ron. You've already talked to him, and my wife. Sorry, not my wife. Sorry, my mother, Barb. She's been incredibly helpful throughout this whole experience. So
to the entire Maurice family, our thoughts go out to you. Let's get to the Con Man on a Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by Edmonton Kubota. Snow's coming. And to relieve your stress, they have all great snow removal products and all the accessories at EdmontonKubota.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
So light night in the NHL, just 2 games on the schedule. Panthers take on the Ducks at 8 and at 6. It's the Jets hosting the Sabres. Earlier today in the NHL Global Series, the Toronto Maple Leafs coming back to defeat the Red Wings 3-2. In the association, the in-season tournament continues. Raptors host the Celtics. That one gets going at 5:30. You've also got the Bucks in Charlotte taking on the Hornets. Wizards host the Knicks. 76ers in Atlanta. Bulls host the Magic. Nuggets take on the Pelicans. Jazz up against the Suns, and the Lakers head to Portland. In the AJ, 6 games on the schedule tonight, including Spruce Grove hosting Canmore out at Grant Pier Arena. That one will get going at 7. Sherwood Park's in Bonnyville. Drayton Valley takes on Fort Mac. GP in Lloyd, and Olds hosting Drum Heller. In the WHL, the Edmonton Oil Kings road trip continues. They'll be in Brandon tonight and Moose Jaw tomorrow. Both games getting going at 6. The Alberta Golden Bears hosting Regina tonight and tomorrow down at the Drake. Both those games will start at 7. The Pandas in Regina tonight at 6 and tomorrow at 4. Down at the Saville Center this weekend, the Bears and Pandas volleyball teams in action this weekend, taking on the University of Winnipeg. The action gets going at 6 tonight, 5 tomorrow. Grant McEwen, men's hockey team in action as well. The home and home with Mount Royal tonight in town, tomorrow in Calgary. The women do the same tonight in Calgary, tomorrow in the city. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show with co-host Wanye Gretz. Will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and the host of the Lowdown with Lowetide, Alan Mitchell. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. Christmas is just around the corner, and we've got everything for the athlete and sports fan on your list, including United gift cards. United Sport and Cycle, your Santa's workshop for over 95 years.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Winter weather is hard on your vehicle. Help keep it in top shape with Pennzoil Ultra Motor Oil from Jiffy Lube. Oil changes on your schedule and 25 bonus air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit bieeng.com.
Black Friday early deals are on now at Canadian Tire. Save up to 50% on kitchen essentials, tools, Christmas decor, and more. These prices won't go any lower this year. Ends November 22nd. Conditions apply. Visit CanadianTire.ca or flyer for details.
At Toyota, we believe you deserve a truck like the Tundra. It's a truck that's capable, reliable, and ready for adventure, just like you. A truck that's tough on the outside, yet warm and comforting on the inside. What? You know you secretly enjoy a nice warm bubble bath? Don't we all? It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 Double Cab SR5 from $169 weekly for 64 months at 8.49% APR with $6,999 down. Hybrid also available. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, the clear choice for all your auto, residential, and commercial glass. Call 310 Glass or book now at crystalglass.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Awesome Friday, rolling through on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube. I'm Jason Gregor alongside Wanye Gretz, Connor Halley, and of course the Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement this season with odd boosts, same game parlays, player props, and more at PlayAlberta.ca. The Oilers are in Tampa Bay, of course. 21 hours from puck drop, as it'll be tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock Edmonton time, as the Oilers looking for their fourth consecutive victory. Tampa Bay was victorious over Chicago last night, and then flew back today. Didn't fly back home after the game, interesting enough, according to Matt Tomkins, who was on the show earlier. So not sure if he's getting the start. We asked him. He was hoping to get it, so we'll see what happens. Let's get to the spec report now, brought to you by GS Construction, as they are planning to celebrate their huge 50 years next year. And you know what? Now's the best time. You can slide in, become a new employee, get all the benefits of the 50th bash. Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction. If you're looking for a stable company to work for, you can lock in for a long time, check it out, GS Construction on Indeed.com. As Mark Spector joins us from lovely Tampa Bay. Spec, Connor Brown is in, and Connor Brown is going to start on the top line, it looks like. So no rest for the weary. Get him in, and I kind of see both sides of this. I don't necessarily have a problem. Derek Ryan, Sam Gagner, the two guys with the other options. I can see why you'd go with Connor Brown, you sign him to be a top six forward, so I guess you might as well play him in your top six.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, you got so many guys that you could start them down lower and move them up. But let's be honest, Sam Gagner is playing on the top line right now, and he's also really a fourth line player. You could put Derek Ryan there, but he's pretty much, I don't mean to sound, I'm not taking shots at these guys, but he's probably a fourth line guy. So what's the difference? You might as well put Connor Brown up there and get him going. Sure.
What do you think about Broberg? Are we going to see him tomorrow, or are they going to wait?
I don't know. It's hard to tell in practice. It looked like Darnay was getting the shifts with Kulak today, getting more work. But because they rotated him every second time, Broberg was going. So it's hard to tell. I sense a coach who probably isn't changing a winning lineup. But are they winning because Vincent Darnay's playing so great? Or could you make that change and get Broberg in? I suggest you could probably make that change fairly seamlessly, couldn't you?
Yeah, I would think so. And that's why I just wonder, how long they're potentially going to wait. What about on the bottom end, Gagner, Lavoie, and Ernie? Any guess on who you think is going to be the draw the short straw to be the healthy scratch?
Again, you go to a practice when there's 22 guys skating around, try to figure out as they rotate every shift, which guy's not playing tomorrow, man. It's, it's a fourth line guy, one of them. I could guess as well as you, but I'll be honest with all our listeners. I don't know which guy draws the short straw. I just don't know.
Okay. You look at Tampa Bay, Spec, and they wanted to tread water until they got Vasilevsky back. And that's essentially what they've done. They're just one game over right now. But this is, probably your best time, to get them without Vasilevsky right now. Maybe you get Matt Tomkins, the local guy in goal tomorrow. And no offense to Matt, but, he would be the first to say, hey, I'm not Vasilevsky. But it'd be a hell of a story, and one that, that Tampa Bay could, potentially rally around. So I'm kind of curious to see if he gets to start. We asked him when he had him on the show, and he said they just landed, so it wasn't really sure, but he said, hey, I would love to get it.
Yeah, the way it usually works in the NHL is he would get a text at some point to see, assuming they're not practicing after they landed today. His goalie coach would text him with the start. He'll go to bed tonight knowing if he's playing or not for sure. Yeah. You know that, Jay. Hey, get the Bolts without Vasilevsky. That's better. In fact, I wouldn't mind getting him in his first game back, because oftentimes it's not a great start for a guy. But I can't think of a better time. You know, the Oilers. Listen, the Oilers got to get some wins here. Like when all this bad stuff came to a head and the coach got fired, they were all talking about how they were 7 points out of the wild card spot in 31st place. Well, today they're 8 points out of the wild card spot in 31st place, and they won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So I can't stress to you how difficult it's going to be to make up these points. American Thanksgiving is coming up on Thursday, and they're 8 points out of a wild card spot. They got to get to 6 by then, even to have a lousy chance, right? 8 points at American Thanksgiving. I haven't done the math. I haven't looked at the history, but I will. I think that it's about a 3% chance. I don't know what it is, but it's not much. So wins are important, man. Really important.
Yeah, they gotta get going. No question about it. Their offense has come around a little bit. Their third periods are better. Obviously, we know what's happened in the second period. But I look at another full practice spec, and Chris Knobloch was very open about how it would take some time, and it would in the American League or junior said you could have 3 or 4 straight days. So on day one, you could say, okay, now we're going to work on this new system. Then we're going to work on forecheck. And by the time you get to the weekend game, you got a lot of changes put in. Said, hey, when we're only practicing, once every few days, it's a little bit calmer. So we looked at, he wanted his offense to move the puck quicker. Then they spent one practice working on really protecting the middle of the ice. Was there anything you noticed today that you were like, okay, this is a small little subtle adjustment?
Yeah, what I noticed today was neutral zone when the puck is turned over. They ran one drill in particular where it was basically, when your defenseman begins defending and all of a sudden ends up with the puck at his blue line, we're not passing it 3 times between our defensemen and going behind our net. And it's a quick turnaround and let's get it going the other way. It was they worked over and over on defending the neutral zone and then turning that defending into a transition. So, read the tea leaves. It sounds like a coach that wants his team to speed its game up, right? Yeah. Let's not wait. Let's transition as fast as we can. Let's use our team speed to go the other way. So that's a plan. When they start firing bullets for real and we get into the real game, will the defenseman and everybody react the same way? Let's hope. That's why you practice, right?
You're scaring the heck out of me here, Spec. There isn't even snow on the ground. We've already written this thing off. I'm freaking out. When do you think Picard sees ice time?
When do I think who sees ice time?
Coming up from the A.
Pickard.
Yeah, Pickard.
Oh, Pickard. Oh my God. You know what, guys? I wrote this today. The column just went up, and I
saw it. Quite the headline, Spec.
Yeah, I urge our readers to read it. It's kind of terrifying when you think that the Edmonton Oilers and their entire organization have one NHL goalie, right? One guy who's a legit NHL goalie. Like Calvin Pickard's had a hell of a career, and God bless him, and I hope he plays and gets the shutout. But by all recognition, Calvin Pickard is an American League goalie, and I don't mean that in a negative, bad, critical way. That's just what he is. He's an American League goalie. I don't know what Jack Campbell is these days. Olivier Rodriguez is an American League goalie. That's what he is. And the chances of him ever raising above that at this age aren't great. They got one guy, man. They got Skinner. And God forbid he gets hurt. Like this season rests on Skinner playing well and playing often. Because you tell me, guys, if it's give Pickard a shot, he'll win a game for you. He can win a game, but he's not winning 3 in a row or 4 in a row. That's just not who he is anymore. So what do you do? Like if you don't play Skinner every day, what do you do with this team?
Yeah, well, it is. Rodrigue was drafted after Skinner, so he's a little bit younger. So I wonder, when you look at some of these kind of come out of nowhere goalies, those are the guys you didn't expect. And so I do wonder, Rodrigue, when he's played in the American League this year. Now, granted, he hasn't played a lot because Pickard played twice as much, 4-2, and then Campbell came down and played all 3, and he didn't play very well at all. And so, like, we had Loriann Muenzer in here today, and she almost hinted like, you need a break at some point when it's as low as it is for that. You might need to step away from it. And so, I wonder if they do that. But I think they honestly, the best bet's back. They might just got to ride Olivier Rodrigue there and get him on a run and let him run 5 or 6 games in the American League. So then when you want to give a break for Skinner, you just swap him and Pickard out, and then Rodrigue comes up and plays a game. That might be their best solution.
Well, I don't like that solution very much, Jason.
Fair.
Two things. Campbell went up to Edmonton after Calgary, got some more clothes, sorted a couple things out at home, and now he's in Bakersfield. So he is back with the team. There's no break. I suspected the same, Jay. No break. A short break. Now he's in Baco. He's going to keep playing. I mean, nothing against. How old do you have it in front of you? How old's Olivier Rodrigue? Can somebody look that up?
Yeah. He's younger than Skinner. So
is he younger than Skinner?
Yeah. Because Skinner was drafted before him.
Okay. So you know what? Maybe he improves.
He's only 23. Like 23 for a goalie is actually pretty young.
Listen, goalies are voodoo. I'm the first guy to say, don't ever ask me to, when I say that he's an American League goalie, I'm talking about the here and now. He has not played in the NHL. He's not proven himself in the NHL. There's no way you can tell me he's an NHL caliber goalie. Does that mean he'll never be? Hey, hands are in the air, man. Don't ask me what he's ever going to be. I'm not telling you what a goalie, how he's going to pan out. Okay. But all the people who do know goalies, like Kevin Woodley and those guys, when you see the rankings of American League goalies and goalies of the future and all that, do you ever see Rodrigue's name on them? I don't. So listen, pal, if Skinner, I'm knocking wood as I say it, if Skinner gets hurt, these guys are in absolute trouble here, big time. Like, this is not where you want to be with one NHL goalie here with 65 games to play or whatever there is. It's a rough spot, man. It's a rough spot.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair.
It's Positive Friday, Spec you, but thinking of Terrifying Thursday. You're thinking of a day prior.
Sorry.
Terrifying Thursday.
I'll be interested in matchups tomorrow, Spec. I know that Edmonton doesn't have last change, but nowadays, Coach, you can get the matchup you want if you really want it. I look at the orders, and with McDavid and Draisaitl, we know that Draisaitl obviously is the guy who's taking the face-offs. There's no question about it. But Knobloch has been very complimentary of McLeod and Foegele thus far. Obviously, the offense isn't there yet for them, but at some point, McLeod, you got it. Like, to me, I crunched all the numbers. He's missing the net, Spec, almost as much as he's hitting it. That's his problem. Like, he's getting shots, but I don't care if you don't hit the net, you can't score. Right? So you'll add it. What did Wayne Gretzky say? Whatever. The shots you don't take, you can't score. I don't want to butcher it, but basically that. Like, McLeod's taking a lot of shots. He keeps missing the net. Like, get him a scope.
Get him a scope. I'm not sure I'll have the time to sight that scope in the slot and hit the corner, but hey, what am I supposed to say to that? The kid's he's got to hit, does that tell you a couple things? I mean, sometimes you don't hit the net because your degree of difficulty is harder than it should be. You're shooting from too far away trying to pick corners. What that jives with is what, you're looking at stats. My eye test tells me Ryan McLeod doesn't take the puck into the hard area. He's not shooting from right in front of the net. Ryan McLeod is veering off to the perimeter when traffic comes. And is he shooting from there? I mean, I'd have to look harder at it. But maybe the two of us, if you mix our stats together, I'm here to tell you the kid's got to get himself into the scoring area, and you're telling me he's missing the net too much. Maybe it's the same thing.
Yeah, you could be right. Very much so. Spec, what's happening on a Friday night in Tampa Bay?
You know what? I don't know. I'm the only guy in this road trip, other than the Oilers people who are all staying somewhere else. So I go online to see what's happening in Tampa on a Friday night just because. And I'm all I could find are these heavy metal, death metal shows that are going on all around. It must be some festival or something. It's not my speed, man. There was a time, but you think some guy my age is going to a freaking metal show by himself? Like, it ain't happening.
You'll be the lone reporter sitting down in the lobby bar having a beer, basically, is what you're telling us today.
Yeah, no. Do they serve Merlot here? Hello? I can't hear you. What's that?
What you should do is you should just live, and you probably don't, but just go there and then just live stream. Here's Spec at the metal band. Hey, kid. Do you have any Merlot? Oh, that would be a nice Chardonnay.
I don't know what I'm doing tonight, man. Scotty Burnside keeps sending me to some place called The Hub. He says they mix the strongest drinks in the continental USA. So I'm not sure that's a great idea.
Oh, you got to try it, Spec, right? You never know.
The name of science.
As long as it's stumbling distance home, you'll be okay.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll try anything once, I guess. But,
No, that's true. Yeah, there you
know
go.
what? I need a winger, Jay. I need a winger.
Oh, God, geez, I wish I was there. I'm a good wingman right now. You know,
I know.
I have to wear a hat though, that's for sure. So the ring of confidence is not looking good. So
yeah, well, anyway, I'll give it my best shot and report back Monday. How about that?
all right, we look forward to an in-depth report. All right, Spec, have a good weekend.
All right, boys.
That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. When we come back, LT will join us. We got lots of texts. Texts are coming in hot and heavy. 833-401-1440. We also have Wanye's World and more on Positive Friday edition of the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live in the E-Well studio.
There's two seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
It's simply the best time to buy. The Black Friday event is on right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. You'll save up to a game-changing $7,500 off your purchase or finance as low as 1.49%. Choose from a winning selection of 2023 cars and SUVs like the sleek S60 or the roomy and comfortable XC60s and 90s. Black Friday is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
At Toyota, we believe you deserve a truck like the Tundra. It's a truck that's capable, reliable, and ready for adventure, just like you. A truck that's tough on the outside, yet warm and comforting on the inside. What? You know you secretly enjoy a nice warm bubble bath? Don't we all? It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 Double Cab SR5 from $169 weekly for 64 months at 8.49% APR with $6,999 down. Hybrid also available. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Does anyone buy an RV in the fall? I mean, why would you go to all the trouble to find just the right one when you can't enjoy it until the spring? Only someone like Rick Showers from Noble RV would know the answer. Ain't that right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. You'd be surprised how many people buy their RV from us in the fall. It's a buyer's market. The people who sell their RVs with us are often a little more motivated to sell this time of year. And that means a better deal for you. And when you buy your quality used RV from No Bull now, I cover the cost of storage and winterization for the coming winter. So you can pick it up in the spring, ready to roll without paying an extra cent.
Winterization and storage? That can cost quite a bit, Rick.
Not when you come to No Bull. Our inventory is constantly changing. Something we have today, we might not have in the spring. So the best time to find the RV that's right for you is anytime.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Andy Akel at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. We're Pearson, Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Christensen Communities. Have peace of mind knowing your loved one is in the best possible hands. Christensen Communities have safe retirement living options across the province and now welcoming new residents. Visit cdlhomes.com.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on Positive Friday on Sports 1440. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you. It's Positive Friday. You know what? Lots to be positive about. Of course, we talked earlier. Of course, our deepest condolences going out to the Maurice family as John passed away way too early at the age of 39 after a 3.5-year battle with cancer. So I hope they're doing as best they can right now. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Now, it's going to be plus 10 degrees this weekend, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, friends of all ages. You can get $7,500 off right now on any 2023 Volvo at Volvo Cars Edmonton. So stop in, go for a test drive. Ooh, baby. Well, actually, I'll say this. Don't go for a test drive unless you're sure you're going to buy it, because I'll guarantee you once you test drive it, you're buying it. There's no turning back at that point. You're in. You're locked in. It's that simple. It's like if all of a sudden you see a picture of an Oilers Stanley Cup ring online and you're Wanye Gretz, you're done. You're buying it.
You're in.
You'd be the same if you go to Volvo Cars Edmonton. That's how it is. Alan Mitchell, a.k.a. Lowetide, joins us, chief historian. And LT, do you remember Margot Farr?
Margot Farr. Why does that ring a bell?
Well, she was the owner of the Stanley Cup ring that Wanye Gretz.
We don't know that she's the owner. She had the appraisal done.
Okay.
And this is probably violating FOIP.
Oh, I don't know if it is.
But we don't believe in FOIP at 1440.
If Gregor is going to violate something, it's going to be Gregor violating something. So good job.
I bought a woman's Stanley Cup ring, Lowetide. It's the oldest tale in time. It was on for sale on eBay. It came with a gem report that says it's real, but we cannot figure out for the life of us why this ring was issued and why it was made. So we have an Oilers Cup mystery finally to solve.
Well, there was a Rocky Farr who was a goalie. Maybe he was the goalie coach that nobody knew.
Rocky Farr.
Ooh, there you go.
Gregor thought she might be related to Jamie Farr of MASH fame, but I looked that up.
I was just getting Wanye to start looking down any rabbit holes.
Well, this is the way you do an investigation.
Yes.
This is the way you solve the mystery. Rocky Farr.
And Rocky Farr played in the WHA. I don't know if he played with the WHA owners, but that would be my guess. You know, and also there's Near and Far, which Grover did at Sesame Street.
Of course.
Which might,
yeah, that would be good. Al, there has I never in the history of the Oilers, because we really haven't seen a contract like this, but Connor Brown, after 9 games, people they want to dispatch him to Siberia. They don't ever want to see him play again because he's got that 3.25 bonus that will kick in once he steps on the ice tomorrow afternoon in Game 10. We all knew this was there at the start of the season, but it really seems, I guess, because he's goose eggs across the board. But if he had 2 goals and 4 assists in 9 games, I don't think it would lessen the challenge of it. But what the Oilers management has to do is they have to look and say, okay, Connor Brown at $3.25 million. Well, look at how much bonus overages the Bruins have with Bergeron and Krejci. So, yeah, it sucks that you have it, but be a good manager, make better moves, and then you should be okay.
Also, one of the things, and we all do it, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but we need to go back and remember what happened. They needed to sign Evan Bouchard. That meant they had to get rid of Kata Yamamoto's contract. But they also needed somebody who could play second or first line right wing in a complementary role, and they would prefer to have a veteran, a guy who was a forechecker and a two-way player. So even though I know the outrage is there, and I know people are upset, signing Connor Brown was, I think, I would argue, an astute move by Ken Holland. He had to get the Evan Bouchard contract done, or people would have been mad as hell. the Karo Yamamoto overpay required that they send off Klim Kostin, and went based on what we know they weren't going to sign anyway. So getting Connor Brown signed, I know it doesn't look good, but he played pretty well the last 4 or 5 games. The pucks will start going in, and everything is a risk. That's what being an NHL general manager is, or marrying your wife is, or whatever, going to the college you go to, or Wanye buying a great Stanley Cup ring that nobody's ever heard of.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. It's a bet.
I just Googled Rocky Far and it came back, is this Lowetide? And I said, nope. It was on his behest. He is a deep cut NHL player. I'll tell you what, most of the teams he played for no longer exist.
Well, that's my guy.
The Houston Apollos? Who am I talking about? The Cincinnati Swords, the Fort Worth Wings, the Salt Lake Golden Eagles. This is unbelievable.
All great teams.
Al, Brown is coming back in, and they're putting him right on the top line, which I thought maybe they'd put him at game in the third line, but ultimately you sign him as a top 6 winger, and I think he's the best option after Zach Hyman to be a top 6 winger on the right side right now.
Yeah, they want Fogle to play on the third line because they'd like to get more offense from it. And I also think, I mean, you know, they've had a chance to evaluate him. He really was playing. I mean, nobody will believe anybody anymore because that's what happens. You know, you can talk about Connor Brown improving, and somebody's going to mention the $3.25 million or whatever it is bonus. So there's no conversation to be had. But I can tell you, Connor Brown was playing better before he got hurt. The first couple of games, 2 or 3 games, weren't great, but in terms of shot share and the puck going in a good direction, he was doing that. Possibly the coaching staff has looked at him, evaluated him, and said, you know what, we don't have to bring him along slowly. He can be a plug and play. That's what you hope for, and we'll find out tomorrow. But I think the great thing about having Gagner as a depth forward is you can still dress, and you can plug him in if you need to.
So who would you take out, Ernie, Gagner, or Lavoie?
Well, I think it's going to be Lavoie. I would take out Ernie, but I think that Lavoie I think he's got 6 NHL games. He's not playing much. I like him as a player, but Ernie is the veteran guy, and the others are clearly, you know, they're all in on a veteran group. Ernie is a physical player. I'm surprised he didn't get he got $2,000 for, which was a pretty, I mean, Wanye threw those elbows back in high school. That's how bad it was.
Before I had my ring.
Right, exactly. $2,000. So I think it'll be Lavoie, and I think having Gagner as a guy who you can move up the lineup is more important than either of the 2 wingers, Ernie or Lavoie, because they clearly trust Gagner more. And right now, you know, you're trying to win hockey games. They're cutting back on mistakes. So I'd run Lavoie, but I don't have to worry about getting fired either.
I'll mention like a Lowetide joins us. LT, Grey Cup on Sunday. What is the go-to Grey Cup party food at Chez Lowetide?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. We like wings, and we also like homemade pizza. So those are the things we like at our house, and we and we do it for the Grey Cup, not for the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl doesn't get the good stuff. The Grey Cup does.
Okay. And do you have like favorite toppings on the homemade pizza?
Well, it's you get cheese pizza and you get pepperoni, and then you can cut, as I do, tomatoes on it and also onions. But the onions you can bake in or you can cut them at the end. But the tomatoes, I don't cook the tomatoes with the pizza. I just cut them afterwards and put them on, and they're cold, but they're so good. If you have like fresh garden grown tomatoes on pizza, you are absolutely in heaven.
Yeah, I do love I used to have a pepperoni mushroom fresh tomato. That was my that was a go-to for many years. Nice. I like that one.
I know you got to go soon, LT, but I just wanted you to remember that Rocky Farr in 1969-70 played 47 games for the Denver Spurs and went 16 wins, 21 losses. It must have been a great year for both of you.
You know, I had his hockey card. I think it was with the New York Raiders, but I might be wrong. And I I think he might have played in a playoff game in one of those leagues.
He was briefly a Sabre, just because I have this open. He was briefly a Sabre later on in life. But I'll tell you, there's deep cuts, and then there's players Lowetide knows. And Rocky Farr falls into the second category.
By the way, boys, his first name is Norm, I believe.
You are also correct. Wow, it's an honor.
Norm Farr.
Listen, I don't know my way home, boys, but I can tell you about Gary Sabarin, Morris Mott, and Rocky Farr. It's all in the brain, baby.
What about like a Dick Duff scouting report?
Oh, yeah. Well, Dick Duff was a very good player.
Oh, yeah.
He was, by the time I saw him and had his hockey card, he was with the Sabres. But if you go back and look at old video, the two guys who really impressed me in the old video that I watched later in life were Bob Pulford and Dick Duff. They were good hockey players.
Bob Pulford, you know what, LT? I would agree with you. I think Bob Pulford is probably a guy who's underrated how good of a player he was.
Yeah, for sure. He was much better than I thought he was. I remember when he went in the hall, I was pitching and moaning. But the games that I've seen, he was good. Like, he was a very good player.
Yeah. No, that's a good pull. I would agree wholeheartedly with that one.
No Rocky Farr, though. I'll tell you that much.
Well, no. I mean, who can be, though, really?
That's very true. LT, quickly, what a devastating Thursday nighter. We have Joe Burrow done for the year. Mark Andrew done for the year. Like, that's a dominant tight end. Now, you know what? The Ravens are still very good, but the Bengals season, I think, is pretty much officially over now. They're not making they're 5-5 to begin with, and they got 7 games left, and now they don't have their starting quarterback, and their backup is Browning, who ain't very good. But, man, that sure changes the complexion pretty quickly. And you throw in that Watson's out in Cleveland, although I'm not sure that's as much of a loss as Burrow.
Yeah. You know, what's really funny about those injuries, boys, the only guy who doesn't know about it is Al Michaels, and he called the game. I mean, he just didn't. It's like the guy is like clearly in pain, and Al Michaels is talking about getting out of Dodge. It was incredible.
It was. You know what, Al? It is interesting. He is he's unbelievable for a long, long time, but he does seem it now to miss a little bit of stuff, it seems.
Yeah, well, I can relate to him. I understand getting old and being grumpy. I get those things.
LT, what kind of game are you expecting from the Oilers tomorrow?
I think they'll play well. I think they'll win the game. I do believe they'll win. Tampa Bay is kind of up in the air a little bit. They still don't have the big gunner starter in goal, and I think you'll see the kind of desperation we saw late in the last game. They always have a chance now, and I mean, they're not going to get it all back in like 7 games, but I think there's some momentum, and I think it'll carry them through. I don't think they'll go undefeated on the road trip. I think 2-2 is fair, but I think they'll win tomorrow.
LT, drive safe, enjoy the Grey Cup, and we will chat with you on Monday.
All right, boys. Rocky Farr forever.
Rocky Farr forever. I like it. Jason Gregor, Wanye Gretz, Alan Mitchell with us. LT does have some obscure names you can go through for certain.
You're in the platinum grade of sports knowledge, obviously. Nothing to take away from the vault you have in your brain, but Lowetide's obscure deep cuts. It's not just hockey either. He can do it in baseball. He'll talk to you about that.
Well, his baseball guys might actually be better, to be honest. Or maybe more impressive, really, because he's got some unbelievable pulls when you're talking about baseball, and they bring up a guy and you're just like, what? And it's not just he brings up the name, because you could say names of players very easily. I could list off lots of names of guys, but then when you can add on to it with the description of certain plays and what they did, that's what separates it.
If you're sitting at home and you think, I wonder if I have what it takes to be Lowetide. I don't want to be a jerk, but you don't. Because you would needed to have remembered everything you've ever written or heard about sports back to the womb for you to be the next Lowetide.
It's tough. It's big shoes to fill.
Big shoes
to fill. 5:36. Jason Gregor, Wanye Gretz will return. We have Wanye's World coming up. Lots of text to get to. 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. It's a Positive Friday, the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
When basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal joined the team at Papa John's, he brought some big ideas. But his biggest idea is the Shaq-a-Roni pizza. It's a massive pizza designed to feed big appetites and make a big impact. loaded with extra cheese and extra pepperonis. But what makes it really big is that for every Shaq-a-Roni sold through December 31st, 2023, Papa John's donates $1 to Second Harvest to provide free healthy meals to people and agencies in need. The Shaq-a-Roni is bigger than pizza. Get yours today for only $21.99, only at Papa John's.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already. Yeah, we're working in your basement, doing a replacement. The work's so easy, building your call Legacy. Replace your dying furnace before it's late. That's how you build your legacy.
Backyard project power and precision install, look no further than Kubota Compact Tractors. Experience the perfect blend of compact size and unbeatable value with Kubota. Right now, take advantage of financing as low as 0% for 85 months and save up to $1,500 on select models. As the temperature drops, get ready for Alberta winters with confidence with Kubota Performance Match snowblowers, sweeper, and blades. Visit Edmonton Kubota today for details.
Your furnace is broken. Legacy Heating and Cooling will give it a good talking to and make it smarten its act up right now.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If your furnace is disobedient and refuses to heat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you just want some peace of mind this winter.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Plus, Legacy never charges overtime rates. Always call Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Black Friday early deals are on now at Canadian Tire. Save up to 50% on kitchen essentials, tools, Christmas decor, and more. These prices won't go any lower this year. Ends November 22nd. Conditions apply. Visit CanadianTire.ca or flyer for details.
The Taboo, everything to do with sex show, is coming back to Edmonton this weekend. It's Edmonton's sexiest all-inclusive adult party. If you've never been to the Taboo show, you don't know what you're missing. Introducing Glow Friday and Masquerade Saturday. Taboo has something for everyone. It's all about feeling sexy. Bring your sweetheart, your friends, or come alone. Grab a drink, walk around, and enjoy non-stop stage entertainment, shopping, and seminars. Bad Dragon presents The Taboo Show this weekend at the Expo Center in Edmonton. Visit tabooshow.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, professional athletes use aquatic therapy, radial shockwave, zero gravity treadmills, and pneumatic recovery devices for rehab. Leading Edge Physiotherapy offers those to you because sports shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on to wrap things up. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Presented by EUL, live in the EUL studio. I'm Jason Gregor alongside Wanye Gretz from OilersNation.com. And it is time now for Wanye's World, brought to you by Action Electrical. You want to take action on savings, whether you have your resident or you have a commercial building? You're looking for solar? Well, guess what? There's all sorts of government grants that you can get. They can tell you all how about it. Save up to $5,600 on some. Others you can get for your business, interest-free loans for anything solar. So learn more at actionelectrical.net. It is this time now for Wanye's World.
Well, my plan had been to come in here and hold on to my ring until the Wanye World segment and then do a big reveal. But I basically came through the door, one-man cup parade, and started yelling about it, walking right through. So you'll forgive me if you've heard most of this. But I also have to talk about the ring enough that I can write it off fully with Revenue Canada. So bringing it up for a third time on the show, I think, would be good form. If you ever go online and you have the opportunity to win, like I did, you buy a woman's 1984-85 Stanley Cup ring. You just do. And how did she get it? You figure it out later on, and we will launch an in-depth investigation. Did this lady have her ring stolen? The chances are high. I'll be honest with you. The chances are high I've purchased a stolen ring, but I will find her, and perhaps returning it to her if it is stolen will be what breaks the curse, the gypsy curse on the Oilers. If not, I have this ring, which should break the gypsy curse on the Oilers.
I don't think it'd be stolen because, it's just stolen. How do you get, well, I guess, maybe go somewhere else to get the letter of authenticity.
No, you would steal the ring out of the safe in a wonderful heist like Ocean's 11.
Oh,
and then you get
so you're saying it's these are high-end thieves.
This is a high-end theft.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
High-end.
For such a, valuable piece of property. Is what you're saying.
I think that we got to have this to get into cup mode. I think we need to shake off the narrative that we're not in the playoffs and American Thanksgiving. We need to shake that off. And I'm a Stanley Cup champion, Gregor, and I think we can come back, and I think we can make the playoffs. So there you are, everybody listening. I'm a Stanley Cup champion, and I think the Oilers have what it takes to get into the playoffs.
Have you and Paul Coffey been conversing?
I assume we do eventually meet.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know where yet. I haven't heard from him yet, but I assume.
Would you carry your ring around? Just say, hey, Paul, look what I got.
Yeah. And he'll say, you're not a woman. And I'll say, who are you to tell me that, Paul? Sir?
True. I wonder, because, he wears his on the bench. And I thought it was funny. People are, well, yeah, why wouldn't you? Because his ring, it's funny. If you watch, he can wear his ring. Nowadays, the athletes, when they can't wear their ring.
No.
Right? Their hand, all of a sudden, they're sitting there and their wrist just goes, it just falls over. I can't hold this up anymore. My hand suits. The thing's massive.
His ring may have a microphone in it too. You never know what he's got in there, right?
Possible.
It's a listening device.
It's possible. Well, why not? I'm curious to see kind of, the impact of Paul Coffey. He's been very conversational with players during the game, even in practice. Right. And, Ekholm was interesting. And now Ekholm says, I can only speak for myself. I love getting the instant feedback. Some players don't. It all depends. And so obviously as a coach, you got to figure that out over time. Who are the guys that I can talk to in the game and who are the guys, or I can talk to regular, maybe some guys one time. Right. So you got to figure out how that is. But I think the benefit that they will have is, and Bouchard already outlined it, him and Dave Manson are going to have different philosophies as coach. Not one better or worse, just different, right? And I think the Oilers' emphasis is going to be moving the puck quicker. Now, obviously, you don't want that to be at a detriment. And, it's not like the Oilers, even though they talked about wanting to be heavy and strong and everything, that wasn't really what they are. And I think if the Oilers want to be heavier and tougher, they're just going to need to get a few guys who are naturally more heavier and tougher, specifically in front of the net. If there's one area still that I look at on the Oilers that I feel needs to improve defensively, it's you've got to make your front of the net a lot harder of a place to go. And there'll be often times where the opposing forwards are banging around the net and there's no recourse. Then you look at the Oilers and they're banging a rebound. And the minute they hit it once, all of a sudden, cross check from the defender, there's a stick on them. I just compare the differences. And the Oilers are slowly going to the net more. If you look at a lot of their goals lately, come around the front of the net, right? Which is where you have to be for the majority of the time. Obviously I know McDavid and Draisaitl, those guys can dingle-dangle a little bit farther away at times. But if you watch a game on average, especially certain teams, watch when the Oilers play Vegas and watch the battles the Oilers have in front of the net to score compared to what Vegas has in front of Edmonton's net. I still think that's an area that has to improve on this team. If they want to legit be Stanley Cup contenders, their will to, quote, protect the house in front of the goal has to improve.
I think you said it well. I think that there's been too many nights where there's too many easy goals scored against this team, and that just doesn't play in the playoffs.
Yeah. So it's got to happen. There's no question about it. Lots more text flying in. It's 10-12-60. Hey guys, the new championship rings are from athletes having trophy buckle envy from Hacksaw.
Well said.
It's true. Those things are massive. Massive. Hey, guys, you guys should text Spec. Tell them to go. Some of the nicest people ever at the metal concerts. Oh, I don't discount it. I don't discount it at all.
At all. It's more a Spec problem than a concert problem.
Yes, exactly. I think it's sensitive ears.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he can handle it.
Yeah.
So, not at all. Hey, guys, I really think it's the Horkoff curse. Well, Horkoff, go back and look at 2006 and go series by series. Ryan Getzlaf, Joe Thornton. Look at the matchups Horkoff had and look at how well he did. Sean Horkoff was excellent in the 2006 Cup run.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic. He was at that time in those playoffs, no question, a number one center.
Yep.
I don't see how anybody could say otherwise. Like, look at all the numbers, look at the matchups, look at the production
at both ends too. He was great defensively.
It was fantastic. There, you couldn't argue. I don't think you could argue. Horkoff was fantastic that year. The only guy, well, he was a high scoring forward. Obviously, Pisani had the most goals. Horkoff had the most points amongst forwards. I think Pronger led them with 21, I think, but I'll double check. Either way, Horkoff curse, I'm not sure, because I thought Horkoff was a guy who, people focused on the salary, and he might have been slightly overpaid. It wasn't, the Oilers weren't losing because he was $1 million overpaid. I'll say that to my grave. So he should have been, because they were like, what he should have paid? 4.5. I'm like, okay, so he makes 4. What do you think he would have done with the extra million? Do you think that extra million was going to take you from 26th place to being a playoff team? It wasn't happening, right? John Horkoff was not the issue.
I don't feel like he cursed us. Like, he may have been cursed when he fell into the boards of the All-Star game. Remember that? Poor guy. But I don't feel like he could curse the Oilers per se.
Yeah. Hey, guys, in the last handful of seasons, it's like the Stanley Cup was won with depth and goaltending. I haven't looked at the numbers, but how many of those championship teams had 3 players eating up over $30 million? If the answer is none, do you think the Oilers will have to move one of their top 3 salaries to get depth goaltending from Butterbean? Well, Butterbean, I'll say this. I'm not sure goaltending. Look at Aiden Hill, Lauren Brossoit. Then look at the year before, and you had Darcy Kemper at like 905 or 903, and you had Francouz at 906. Right, so I don't think it was there. Binnington came out of nowhere. He was the 5th goalie in the organization and stood on his head. Now, he played well, don't get me wrong. Now, Vasilevsky, 20 and 21. But Tampa Bay had 3 guys who were making 27 mil. 28 mil, actually, because they had 3 guys at 9.5. So that's 28.5 million. Right. Then if you actually throw in Stamkos and Point and Kucherov and Hedman, like, look at their top 5 salaries in Tampa. They were pretty top heavy, but the difference was it was spread out. It was a goalie, it was a defenseman, and it was 3 forwards. Right? That was the difference. And that's where I look at, and I'm not saying Vancouver's going to win, but when I look at makeup of a team, Vancouver has an elite goalie, they have an elite defenseman, and they got a few elite forwards. Now, Philip Ronnick's playing out of his mind right now, so we'll see how long that lasts. But Tampa, what worked for them was it was spread out. Now, Washington had Carlson, right? They had a pretty good goalie in Holtby, and then they had Ovi and Backstrom, right? So Edmonton right now, like, they're going to need Stuart Skinner, because like Stuart Skinner's only his 2nd year. And I think the one thing that sometimes gets overlooked for Stuart Skinner, and everybody wants to blame the goalie coach, Stuart Skinner, who's the veteran guy that he's supposed to be learning from? Right? Like, look around, lots of other guys. There's a veteran there for a bit. And even if you're playing split duties, the veteran, as much as the goalie coach is good, you learn the veteran can just explain things in game at times a little bit differently, right? You just have someone to even just throw things off of. Well, right now, Stuart Skinner, I don't know what happens. He's trying to play a play, or what? How would you play this? And he'd go into Pickard, and God love Pickard, but it's not the same, right? If Mike Smith was here now, it would be perfect. Even Jack Campbell, but last year, Stuart Skinner couldn't really rely on Campbell because Campbell couldn't rely on himself. And I think that's one thing that if I look at the Edmonton Oilers, Jack Campbell, I don't think it's salvageable this year. I hate to say it because I'm the optimist. I think it's going to be very difficult to see him back in the NHL the way he's playing right now. Like, we're talking like a 180 and another 180 and another one. Like, come on, let's be real here. We go 360, now we're going 540, we're going 720s. Like, come on, we know where it's got to go. I'm not sure I can see him coming back this year. So, God love Pickard. I think the Oilers, and I'm sure they already are, because we'd heard they're having conversations, they got to be on the lookout all the time. I know Stuart Skinner's played well, but lately hasn't solved the issue.
But not Binnington.
No, Binnington makes no sense.
Oh, thank goodness.
No. Binnington makes no sense.
Please don't bring in Binnington.
No, that I don't see how that helps you, to be honest. Like, and I'm honestly not sure. St. Louis is like, okay, we got 3 years left at $6 million for Binnington, and we're going to get Campbell at 3 years at $5 million. Like, that makes, like, Edmonton would have to pay so much on top of it to make it happen that I'm not sold. It's now Binnington's played better this year. I'll give him credit after the last few years, but I wouldn't. That's not a guy I'd be looking at. There's not a lot of great options out there.
There's
to be honest.
not a lot of great options.
That's the challenge. So, but we'll see where it goes from there. Hey guys, Jesper Wallstead was there. The Oilers should have drafted him. Yeah, sure, but he's in the American League. He isn't he doesn't, like when Speck said the Oilers only have one bona fide NHL goalie right now. Jesper Wallstead isn't that guy. Like he's played 46 AHL games, and you know what? He's been good for 46 AHL games. There's nothing wrong with that, but AHL numbers are very different than NHL numbers. So, maybe he'll be that guy, and maybe they will look back and regret on that. You will have to see. Right? They had Rodrigue and they had Skinner. And so some would say, well, you know what? Maybe you don't take a first rounder on that when you have two young goalies. You think those are your guys? I could make that argument. But if you thought he was clearly better, then you should take him anyway. And they obviously didn't. So, but we'll see. Again, just because a guy is lighting it up in the American League doesn't mean he's going to light it up in the NHL, especially goaltenders. It's great. Now, having a 930 in the American League, at least usually historically, is a good basis point to say, hey, we think this guy can come to the NHL and be pretty good. Like if you're a 9-10 goalie in the American League, it's a little bit harder.
930 is a threshold, though. That's
not always, but usually it's a good guideline, right? Like, hey, you can be 9-8, 19 or 920, but probably at least 920. And I'm not talking 30 games. I'm talking a guy who's done it because most goalies, like there's very few goalies who don't spend at least a few years in the American League. Like Marc-Andre Fleury is an exception. Carey Price, exception, right? Like there's not a lot. And then if they do, or if they don't spend a lot of time in there, then usually they're a guy who's going to be, being a backup and kind of like Mike Smith. Mike Smith played 4 seasons in the American League, right? And then, was a backup in the NHL for 3 or 4, right? He didn't really become a starter till later on. Very few goalies are starters under the age of 25. So Skinner's 25 now. It's good. He's there, but they got to get a veteran, man. I think you want a veteran to help support the guy, but also just somebody to bounce ideas off sometimes. I think that's an underrated thing they're missing that hasn't been talked about and probably should be. Wanye, congratulations on the ring.
Thank you.
Try not to sleep with it. Don't hurt you. Like, don't sleep with it where you roll over, then you wake up and now your back's all open.
Should I swallow it?
Awkward. No, don't eat it. Don't eat it. So I'm wearing my Scranton shirt, and you knew what I should have said on that line. But that's what she said. God, I have to do it. Have yourselves a great weekend. Please don't drink and drive. Don't be inebriated. Enjoy the Order game tomorrow afternoon. Watch the pregame show on Orders Nation YouTube. Let's get to the Con Man and Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit or your furnace, either one. It's so warm right now. You're thinking AC. Have a great weekend. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Late night in the NHL, just 2 games on the schedule. Sabres taking on the Jets in about 10 minutes, and at 8:05, the Ducks hosting the Panthers. One final from earlier today at the NHL's Global Series in Sweden. The Maple Leafs storming back to defeat the Red Wings 3-2. Oilers in action tomorrow at 2 o'clock, taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. You can watch Oilers pregame coverage on the Oilers Nation YouTube stream with Aaron Bordado getting going at 1. In the association right now, Raptors lead the Celtics 24-18 in the NBA in-season tournament. You've also got the Pistons up on the Cavs 20-15. Bucks trail the Hornets 43-42 in the second, and the Knicks beating up on the Wizards 57-37. Later tonight, Bulls host the Magic. Nuggets are in New Orleans. Jazz take on the Suns. Lakers up against the Portland Trail Blazers, and it's the Clippers hosting the Rockets in the AJ. 6 games on the schedule tonight, including Spruce Grove hosting Canmore out of the Grand Prix Arena. That'll start at 7. Sherwood Parks in Bonnyville. Drayton Valley hosts Fort Mac. GP takes on Lloyd, and Olds up against Drumheller. In town tonight, you got the Golden Bears hosting Regina. That'll be tonight and tomorrow, 7 o'clock down to the Drake. And the Pandas in Regina tonight at 6, tomorrow at 4. The Edmonton Oil Kings continue their road trip in Brandon and Moose Jaw tomorrow. Both games will get going just after 6 o'clock. Down at the Saville Center this weekend, the Bears and Pandas volleyball teams in action, taking on the University of Winnipeg. Tonight it all gets going in about 5 minutes. Tomorrow it'll start at 5 o'clock. And the McEwen men's hockey team is a home-and-home with Mount Royal tonight here in the city. Tomorrow in Calgary, the women doing the opposite against MRU. They'll meet tomorrow in Calgary, in the city, and that'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Fox Sports Radio back at 9 o'clock, and then Carius and Douglas returning on Monday morning at 7 a.m. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling